You know, in our opening tweet, Jake, we said that today would be explosive here on Night Shift. We just didn't know how explosive it would be. We didn't know that Discord would be exploding. We didn't know that birds would be exploding for people at mid-boss. But what a start to the day. ZP here with Jake to bring you the EU money match coming up as Abrahams looks to retake the throne after being knocked off of it 3 weeks ago.
Still, I mean, that's the one hand, the narrative that Abrahams are trying to make the comeback and get back in the top spot. The other way to think about this is Leviathan looking to just continue the defensive streak. And based on their recent performance, you got to consider them a heavy favorite. After week 1, I was even saying, hey, well, you know, you won once, but are you really going to be able to win again? Like, I'm surprised that they have flipped the dominance this quickly, but they've been winning. They won 2-0 last week, right? Like, this is a team that maybe is the squad to beat. As we take a look back at the history, that Abrahams logo features prominently, but 3 in a row now for Leviathan, and Abrahams didn't even get a chance to contend last week.
And I think the key for Leviathan is that going into it, people are wondering, oh, okay, you know, Abrahams just underestimated them. They got Mo and Krilled, where, bear in mind, they got Mo and Krilled before Mo got buffed. It was just a wonderful pick into Celeste that, you know, turned down Celeste and stopped her from taking over the game at a time where people thought Celeste was unstoppable. And people wondered, well, okay, you got 1 week Leviathan, but no, they're up to 3, and they've kind of proven that they are for real, because 1 week you can sort of chalk up to, okay, they were just really hot that week. 3 weeks in a row, at that point, Jake, you're pretty much proven.
I'm curious the way you're thinking as well, ZP, now that we've seen 1 game on this newest patch about some of the hero priorities. Like you mentioned, maybe wanting to take away the Mina from OCs, but then does that mean you let through things like Barrage or Silver? And for Abraham's side, there's like the Kelvin. I mean, after watching Saint this game, I'm like, I do not want to let him have Kelvin. Like the domes were huge in a lot of these team fights. The clutch parry on mid boss, I think, is more about the player than the hero. But in the end, the Kelvin looks formidable, and you sort of wonder why he even fell out of that top level pick priority in the first place.
Well, particularly for Saint, where, I mean, Saint had a period of time where he got to play nothing but Kelvin for many months at a time. It was the Shiv Kelvin, uncontested from Abrahams, back when teams just weren't valuing it as much. And in that case, I think you have the happy marriage of really good player skill on the hero and the fact that Kelvin is really good again. I think, though, the Kelvin priority goes back to the idea that Kelvin right now is both the #1 enabler of Silver and also the #1 counter pick against Silver. So if you're not going the first pick Silver, picking Kelvin works out really well for you, because it also is kind of a natural hit on the Silver and limits the amount of damage he can do.
Yeah, I mean, if you give up Silver Kelvin together, you just kind of deserve to lose at this level of play. Like that duo cannot be allowed to exist. Even when they were weaker, I feel like that duo was insane and was maybe one of the strongest in the game. And now with both of those heroes being top tier, that one's like an unforced error if you allow the other team to grab it. Still, between these 2 teams, I'm very curious to see the Mirage also see some play. I wonder if it doesn't get more likely to get through that initial ban phase because of some of these teams having those different preferences. But of course, before we get into the draft, we got to introduce our teams.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the first roster here, and yep, it's gonna be Leviathan. One of these days, we'll go to them and be like, guys, you can't just be 3 Mo and Krills on the production screen. But
if it were any other hero, ZP, we would have a problem. But it's Mo Krill. So
yeah,
what the people want, the people get.
You know, it's actually 9 heroes that you have on here if you count each Mo and Krill as 2.
True.
One thing that's accurate, though, OC's on the Mina. I think the wide consensus in Europe is that OC's is vastly better at Mina than maybe any other hero in his pool. And I mean, it's interesting. While teams aren't thrilled about the idea of having to use a first ban on Mina, I think against Leviathan, it is absolutely the play. And yeah, you're going to let in some good stuff. They'll probably get a Silver. Rayek will probably come in on the Celeste, because Rayek, that's been his special as of now, where it used to be Holiday, but people just don't feel like Holiday has the power level at the highest levels of play at the moment. But all in all, we'll see. Other things to note here for Leviathan, you know, Freemock on a championship team again. Used to be back in his Aegis Aurora days, has found his way back to the top, oftentimes on frontliners now, whether it be Silver or Shiv, and it's really been a core part of making this Leviathan squad work.
And for the Ivy, you know, it's interesting. Ivy was completely, I believe, uncontested in the last draft, right? Like no one even considered her, and kind of surprised by that. Like I know they took off some of the spirit scaling on the stone form, like the nuke isn't as powerful as it once was, but I still think like that was just one of the builds that made Ivy look good. I'm a little surprised. I wonder if it won't be considered a little bit more in this game, especially if maybe characters like Kelvin are banned out. You go a little bit deeper into the support pool. But that's Leviathan for you. There are defending champs. They've shown a lot of versatility, and they're going up against Abrahams, who've earned their chance against all odds in that last game to now play once again for the title that they have held for so many months here on the Night Shift.
Also, to answer your question about Ivy, I think the interesting part is that NA must have changed in the last few days, prioritizes Ivy as a first round pick, or at the very least first half of the draft pick most of the time. So NA and EU are worlds apart in their valuation of Ivy at the moment. But yeah, I mean, you talk about Abrahams, we've kind of gone over a lot of this roster here, but talk about some players we haven't talked about as much tonight. For Abrahams, Tass, about as reliable as a player you get in the pick role, whether it be playing Paradox like we saw previously or on the Bebop. I mean, Abrahams can just rely on, Tass get picks good. And Sanya, you think about the history of Abrahams, he came in to replace Jamside, who took a step back, and Sanya has been remarkably consistent in the M1 role. And you think about one of the flashpoints in the middle of last game where that game could have taken a completely different slant if Sanya doesn't land the fadeaway Iradomini jumping into the shaft that takes down Empty Dreams and basically prevents a mid-boss.
Yeah, a game like that, right? It comes down, you look back on all these little moments of coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? Trying to find that difference. I also think on the flip side, Together on the Yamato played a very, very active early game style, and I think was a huge part of the success for Abrahams getting towards that mid game in a pretty even state. Like his rotations on the Yamato, I mean, often we see this character, I think, played a little bit more greedy, a little bit more on the farm side, and you run a big risk on those rotations. If you don't find a kill, if the rotation doesn't really produce anything positive for your team, you start to fall behind, and Yamato is that character that really hates that game state more than pretty much anyone else in the frontliner category. So Together, I think putting it together really nicely as we take a look now at the bonus pay bounty, basically $200 bounty up for grabs. If Abrahams can upset Leviathan, reclaim that championship, they're going to not only win the base prize, but also a potential $200 prize on top.
And if they just get one map, they get $100. Not the biggest prize, but definitely a nice little consolation, even if you have to leave in defeat. So, for Leviathan, the streak has been going on, but that just makes the rewards all the more better for those looking to challenge. But I'm super curious on this draft now, Jake. What I need to see from Abrahams, I think above all else, force Leviathan to show a different look. I want them to get rid of the Mina here. Maybe you lose, but you don't lose to the same thing 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I also wouldn't mind them trying to pick it for themselves. It's hard though, because yes, OC's insane on the Mina, but with how good Mirage is right now, it's like, are you really going to give him that as an alternative? And with Leviathan having second pick, maybe you need to contest the shift. Kelvin, they go once again, they just think, hey, we ban Pocket and we pick Kelvin, we're going to be in a great spot. I think Leviathan should first ban the Kelvin here. Maybe that's a little crazy, but I kind of would like to see it without the Pocket to cancel that healing. Like Abrahams is showing, I think, a pretty clear understanding of the game. If this Kelvin Dome healing is broken, the only thing that counters is Pocket, but Leviathan say, all right, we're going to let you have it. We're just going to outplay it, because I'm pretty sure Abrahams, no reason they wouldn't just double down on the Kelvin again. This is the same draft we saw last game.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly why they're banning Pocket. I think you're exactly on the money, is that the one thing that with the Affliction rework is that it doesn't play nicely with Frozen Shelter. I mean, Kelvin hates the existence of frogs. So Kelvin is going to get picked. For Leviathan, I think one of the first two picks here has to be Mina, or Abrahams will steal it. I do feel like they're confident in stealing it away. So one of two goes on Silver, the Mina. Right? Yeah, I think they have to go Mina Silver. I actually don't think they have any other options here. So Silver comes in because you can't give up Silver Kelvin. Mina needs to come in because Abrahams is going to steal Mina if you don't.
Yeah, I think you're right, especially with Mirage Band. I would like to see it for Leviathan. They might also consider some of these top tier frontliners, and they think Celeste, maybe even more important, but I think you might be right, ZP. I wonder if they live to regret this. There's also options, though, like the Venator, that I think Abrahams are going to be pretty excited to get their hands on early in the draft, that they kind of maybe need to contest right now, lest they lose the opportunity later.
They could go Mina Ven also, but instead, okay, they go Geist, so they're either giving up the Ven or they're giving up the Mina. Maybe they just go Ven. It would be a repeat Venator of last draft if they go Ven. I think stealing the Mina makes more sense because Leviathan is not going to give them the opportunity in the mid-stage bandit. I would be highly shocked. So the last opportunity to deny the Mina is to pick it here.
I'm the sword of Saint
I'm
Benedict.
a little surprised to see the Geist Venator. It is like the top 2 heroes in that category of like the frontline carry, but of all teams, Leviathan I think has been one of the most willing to play Mina as the hard carry and to just like let her take over the game. Everybody else is going to be like high tempo fighting, and Mina just has lots of opportunities to come in and take the fight, but they actually think the Billy is going to be more important to that potential frontline style. I'm kind of surprised to see this. Maybe they think Billy is one of the frontliners who has potential to challenge Kelvin inside the dome, but I mean, we saw from Saints Rebuttal last game, it's maybe a little bit scary to throw too many hands at this Kelvin.
I think when you look at the overall meta, that makes sense. I think for Leviathan, that seems very odd because surely you would think Abrahams comes in here and bans Mina. You're not giving up that much to do a mid-stage ban on it. You know it's Leviathan's most favorite comfort hero. You don't have to pick a Mina with the comp that Abrahams has here. And yeah, they take down the Mina. So for Leviathan, this Billy pick may come back to haunt them, not because Billy is bad, but because we'll see what OCs ends up having
What
to
is
play
the
here.
carry now, right? Is it like the Warden? I mean, you really are up against it right now. Geist, Venator, and Mirage out of the pool. And they go for the Graves.
What?
Oh, wait. I like this. You know me, I'm a Graves.
No, God, here we go.
This hero is actually one of the best heroes in the game, I think, at the like indefinite sustain battle. And Venator and Geist are more about their sustain than they are about the raw damage. Like, the damage is good on Venator and Geist, but ultimately they're more about just being able to tank through everything. If you get a Graves with like the max passive, you get like an inhibitor on you, Geist and Venator aren't really going to be dealing meaningful gun damage, even though you're in the dome. If you're just like Ricochet eating you alive with Graves, maybe a tomb inside the dome. I think this is actually a pretty sick pick for Leviathan. Abrahams, though, they grab the Sinclair, which is kind of the classic counter. Stealing that Grave with a max Sinclair ult is pretty insane. Like, you have a lot of tempo to have that reduced cooldown on the Graves ult. Basically, it's up all the time.
So something that was relayed to me by someone in EU, one of the players. Now, this is a player opinion. This is not necessarily my opinion, but relay, they said OCs needs heroes with iframes in order to have a good game. No iframes equals bad game. There's no iframe heroes, Jake, that OCs is going to be able to play in this instance, and OCs is either
That's a player coping. That is a player coping about Mina and Mirage being good. I'm just going to translate that for you, ZP.
No, but what if they're right? Well, what if they're right? Because there is something to be said is that when you're playing these heroes that have like free escape buttons for that long, and then you have to play something that's a little bit more honest on getting out of bad situations, like, oh wait, I actually die here. When I'm looking at this draft, Jake, I actually think this is entirely Abraham's build. Like, yes, look, Graves arguably got better with some of the recent changes, and maybe there's something there that we're underrating, or rather, I'm underrating. You're not underrating it. You are the full Graves build.
I believe this hero is good.
Yeah.
I've been believing this hero is good for kind of a little bit now. I think in the right draft, you can just take all the enemy damage away, and that alone is so insane. And I actually think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this, but it looks to me like one of the things I don't think we've seen at really competitive play is to give Graves the position 1 farm priority. Because generally we saw like Fishcake and NA playing Graves more as like still side laning a ton, but ultimately playing more of a brawly style and really coming to a lot of fights. I think the Graves I want to see this game is really going for like turning up more at the deeper stages of the game with the soul advantage.
It's also probably going to be OCs on the Graves because the normal, well, maybe. Rake plays both Celeste and Vindicta, so it could go.
I mean, what
way.
else is the carry, right? For OCs, it's, I mean, I don't know. Vindicta carry, I don't really see it. I feel like it almost has to be OCs. Like, there's not really, they don't really have another carry in this draft. Like, it's sort of some awkward semi carries like Billy and Silver, but you just really aren't going to see the farm prio there. So for Leviathan, they're going to risk their championship status here on a Graves pick. And I want to believe, ZP.
If it's OCs on the Graves, talk about a way of beating the allegations of being an iframe merchant, because Graves is many things, but an iframe merchant or someone that has easy escape options is not one of them. So I kind of want to see the OCs Graves.
Looks like it's going to be maybe Hoot on the Venator. We've seen him play this before. I think he looks really, really solid on it. It's sort of not his conventional pick where he plays these like super heavy movement heroes, but just shows his versatility as a player, that he's way more than just like one category of hero. He can play these top end carries, and it is going to be an OC's Graves. Looks like they're doing some wild lane swapping shenanigans on the left side. I like this though, because Graves does want the matchup against the Venator and the Calvin. This makes a lot of sense to me.
It's so interesting how the Graves Ven matchup works, because on one hand, if Ven gets a drop, like you can easily delete Graves, but if Graves like gets a drop on you, all of a sudden like you actually feel the burn from the essence theft, where you're just, oh, my abilities don't do damage to you. This sucks. Even like Domini early game, if a Graves has been on you a little bit, you're just not going to do real damage. But speaking of damage, Rayek is getting the business here in middle. A lot of heavy damage on the Celeste, nearly puts Rayek into the ground before the heal comes in.
And they just lane swapped again, by the way. So Abrahams are really trying to have this Sinclair matchup against Graves. Makes a lot of sense. I think this is probably one of the harder matchups in the game for Graves because of that stolen tombstone. And also, I mean, just the mobility. He's so hard to ever, you know, catch and really get on top of on Sinclair. So I think this is really intelligent from Abrahams. They are actually respecting this Graves pretty significantly, as there may be another lane swap. Uh-oh.
They're waiting to ambush the lane swap. Okay, Abrahams this is next level, what we're seeing right now. So they know the lane swap is coming in, and they're here to punish. Now, is it actually going to be a punishment? We'll see.
It's a Billy under tower. I think they overcooked that one a little bit, TV. It's a Billy Rem coming to your lane. Like, are you really ganking these guys? I guess Rem takes some good punishment, though, from the Vexing Bolt, but Billy is, I think, more than happy to take this kind of a trade just with the Rem healing in the lane.
Well, we'll see if we get another swap as, you know, Ven. Now you actually have the mini game as a viewer or even a caster right now of, is it a box run or is it about to be a swap? You don't know until they get a little bit further from the plane. But we're going to get a collapse here potentially from Leviathan onto the left-hand side. As we see Freemock making his way over. 3 on left, and oh man, the map movement is all over the place right now, Jake.
Celeste happy to, you know, shirk some ganks mid, but I think both teams like are just too good to really give much in these early game rounds. Like, both people, I think, are very aware of the punishes. I will say this game state with all this chaos, I think it's very good for Irizumi because people are just happy to defend their towers, get the solo souls. And Rem, what is he buying? He has about an item. There's no way he's hard rushing Cult Sack. That was illegal if he does that. He has Monster queued up, right?
Yeah, the hard rush Cult Sack makes sense. I think one of the only players that actually has done that in Night Shift would be Pashi. Like, Pashi used the hard rush.
Yeah, but he's on. Okay, no, he's just buying a bunch of items. He just waited. He just buying the monster to clear waves. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, and yes, to the point you were gonna make, yes, Pasha was playing M1 as opposed to being on Rem, where just, the Rem Zac Rush would have been a little bit wild, but Pillow over and in. You see Hoop on a little bit of a retreat. The candle blasting, and the damage actually pretty significant. Yamato may be caught together down.
Just swarmed. And I mean, all those overlapping CCs between the Bola and the Pillow, it kind of adds up. And Yamato, without the stamina to get out of that, no ultimate online just yet. It's a nice little pick for Leviathan, who've earned themselves a 2,000 soul lead. Nothing major just yet, but after all these crazy roams, it's been a chaotic early game. And Abraham's, I don't think they've been able to find that early edge they were hoping for.
By the way, I'm going to call it. I think you're going to get a lane swap to Sinclair going to left-hand side once Speed Zip comes online. Because you can do lane swaps really quickly if you're willing to burn the Speed Zip.
I mean, I think he's going to be trying to lane against Graves literally the entire game. I think that's how you want to play this matchup. Just keep stealing the tomb, spam tombing. Because Graves actually is one of the worst heroes in the game at clearing the enemy zombies when it's stolen from Sinclair. Because you can't headshot with the gun. The auto aim doesn't really help you against those zombies. So it's, you know, a pretty difficult matchup for a lot of reasons. That being said, pre the ult being online, I don't know how scary it is. And for Hoot, question is, can you execute it? Especially if Graves is playing a more of a farming style. I don't think the counter is going to be as hard felt because OC's probably just going to be chilling in the jungle pretty deep into this one.
Also, early rebuttal buy on Together, which makes sense. The Billy on the other side. I actually think
Billy Silver, I think it's nice.
Yeah. I think even in pub games, like, people underbuy rebuttal, especially against Viscous, where you should just buy it, period. But, you know, if you're up against heroes that are going to be sneaking in more melees, it's a good buy. But Chain Gang comes on out. Together.
He's just aggro trading and even got parried. Wait, Billy is absolutely styling on Yamato right now. Who's the one with the rebuttal now? And it's just a full run, but I don't think you can get out of this one. Great catch from Billy. Has his own rebuttal, so Together. I don't got time. getting a taste of his own medicine, and maybe even a left side tower push here available for Leviathan as they look to expand this lead in the early game.
Silver up over the top, slam fire into just a quick retreat out of Tess.
Oh, could be a catch here.
Up over, lands the bola. Just needs a little bit more damage. Health, absolutely good. Boot kick into Tass. That'll do it, and out comes the Lycan Curse, going directly here onto Hoot. But then decides, nope, gonna go for the Guardian because I trust Overseas to finish it off.
Yeah, great sequence of trades there for Leviathan. Maybe they won't get the Guardian down. Maybe they will, though. Those buff minions from Ram are gonna put a lot of pressure on. And it's just, I mean, Leviathan are just aggro across the map, and they're winning, it seems like, just about every trade. Hoot still doesn't even have the ultimate online, so OC is going to be pretty comfortable getting towards that early farm game. And all the action that we've really seen in this game has favored Leviathan. Like every kind of a trade, every kind of attempt, it's been comfortable and clean. Ultimate's online, though, for Abrahams. Maybe that'll be enough to allow them to turn the tide as Hoot does pick up the first Guardian.
Also, you know, I was thinking Hoot maybe would go for another swap, but hasn't been the case. Hoot for now, not looking for the matchup versus OCs here just yet. Content on the right-hand side.
Billy with the Stalker, showing he wants to get pretty aggressive onto this one. And with Rem behind him, it's kind of nice on Billy. You have the luxury of really not buying nearly as much of the defensive utility that often you will be grabbing. Stolen Chain Gang pulls players in, but still with a lot of tools. That tag along from Rem. And Billy's just going to ignore the fight and just go straight for the tower. This is a wild level of aggression. The parry is beautiful from Hoot, though. And that should potentially seal the deal onto this Billy, who's now just trying to run for the hills. Another Vexing Bolt connects. And eventually it's enough. They do take down Overseas. Kind of an expensive one. Costs him a tower, and Irizumi does also escape. So I don't think it's really the end of the world for Leviathan, but that parry from Hoot definitely needed.
Also, whatever you were expecting in terms of farm with Abrahams being behind, a lot of that has been evened up after what was a little bit of a tough start. I mean, even on the aggregate 33k, the 34k. Also, in terms of farm, you know, OCs, who normally is the most well-farmed character, a slower start here on the Grave so far, but looks like a collapse on the Saint, perhaps. Well, they're looking on the left-hand side. Saint, for now, able to shake some of the pressure. But that is a roam from Leviathan on the left-hand side. See if it turns into a little bit more.
Sai has been a real mainstay, I think, for this team. He's been a huge part of their success in the wins they've been able to get. Now, denying some of these souls away. See what he's able to do in the Vindicta. I don't think we've really seen him in much action on this Vin, but now with the snipe online, definitely expect that to change. So Leviathan look to put some pressure here on the mid lane. Trades onto the Mato are always nice, but misses a couple of the skills there. Mato pretty happy to get out of that one. Ghoul's helping just a little bit, but OC's in the end just overwhelmed. Kelvin, Paradox together, just too much movement control. The swap is good, and Graves out of position without stamina, man. You are in a rough spot.
On the chase down now is Freemock. Parry attempt from Saint, not gonna hit. Freemock's hit, though, absolutely connecting. So, Leviathan, here on the left-hand side, of course, they already got the Guardian, and you have the chase down here from Rayek on the Celeste, looking for Tess. Time Wall gonna come down, and Rayek decides, nope, I don't want to fight that because reinforcements are coming. Stolen Shining Wonder. How's it feel to be hit by your own ball? As Rayek right now, I mean, you're Celeste, you're at decent HP. You have options to get out of this, but, you know, here we go.
Yaman deep,
deeper.
Can you really fight the Silver? I mean, Silver with the Lycan Curse going to be more than happy to take these trades. The heals come in from Irizumi into this one, and Sai, although he had to run for the hills on that one, the road for together gets punished. Leviathan a little bit more ready for this early active Yamato. Taz also gets punished. Kelvin, though, nice parry onto Silver. Might be enough to get him out. Shining Wonder is bouncing, making some awkward escape movements from Abrahams, but just the 2 deaths is all they're going to have to tolerate into this one. As I say that, though, Sai finds Sonya, I believe, with some snipes, so more profit here for Leviathan in the trades. Kelvin coming back into this one, but Leviathan never left. They're still sitting around looking for this kill.
More than anything else here, too, I think Leviathan, they just wanted to keep presence in on the left lane to set up for the Urn, but okay. Swap ends up missing into a Sinclair that's a snoozy werewolf, as it were. A little bit of a nap immediately following the audience participation, and also a very quick Urn run here so far. Rayek, blink and you miss Rayek getting to the other side of the map, but Abrahams, a team that often will go for trades in this situation, Jake, and, you know, go for Guardians, in turn decide we're going for the full Urn defense. that may turn into Walker pressure against Leviathan.
Yeah, they're going to need to put some pressure on, because I think across the map here, they're going to be more than happy on Leviathan to trade out some of this pressure. Celeste steps up into the fight, but maybe bites off more than she can chew. Yamato more than willing to counter dive back under the tower, and Rayeg underestimating the level of aggression that Abrahams are willing to put on, even in the Walker. And although Graves, putting some defensive tools down, that Walker takes a lot of damage. Together, even thinking about going back in for one last power slash, just going to fall back for now, though.
Tombstone going to be dropped by OCs. Try and add a little bit more cover to this fight, but there's not to be seen any of the Walker. Sanya able to land the parry and the last little bit of damage, where, by the way, we didn't even talk about it, but Demov on Ven, that's a new look for Abrahams. I don't think we've seen that one before.
Yeah, definitely curious to see how he's going to be able to do on that carry roll, but a nice quick dunk here. Leviathan, patience wins the day. They do lose the Walker for it, but the big rotation comes in. They get the kill on Asanya. They get the earn dunk as well. Still, I think that's pretty much solo earn souls for Sonya Sniper. It's a pretty nice one to be able to find, as OC is now thinking about continuing this chase down. It's gone for a very high damage build here early on in the game. Even has the maxed passive, so he's actually taking all the damage away very early into this one. And finding these kills in the fight is really huge for a Graves that has gone for more of a farming build than a fighting build.
Every time I see Graves chase someone down like that, I just think back to the old OW Apex meme of beautiful tracking. Someone's got to say that unironically in a broadcast someday, and it's going to be terrible. It's like, oh man, this Graves just hit so many shots, Jake.
Oh, Celeste? Is she going to stick around for that mid Walker? I think wisely backs out here. Would have cost her life, and with the Walker that low, it's like one moment of the wave crashing is going to be enough to finish it.
All in all, take a look at the game state as it is right now. About as even as you get, even when looking at soul allocation here, Jake, no massive outliers. Sanya maybe a little bit on the Geist, which, bear in mind, is a pretty big difference. The difference between a Geist at 14k and say 11k at this point in the game is scarily larger than you might otherwise think. But
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the big question in this game is, how does the Graves carry stack up? Because we are even souls at 13 minutes. It means we're likely going to be going pretty deep in the game. In terms of the item allocation, people are going to get to their build. So what is the build from OCs? I'm sure a lot of people are watching with bated breath. He's gone for the split shot, the rapid reload, or the active reload. He's gone for basically an all-in farming build, is my look on this. So he wants to go extremely late with this one, and a nice little snipe, extra damage onto Demov. Stats being built up here. But a catch onto OCs would have been happy just to farm this one up. A stolen tombstone. It's going to put him on the retreat. But OC is actually not backing down, sticking around to this one. Has some support coming into the fight. With the Rapid Hex, it's going to be a little bit scary to continue this one. Graves, though, gets a nice wall, maybe deep behind this one. Kelvin ends up getting immobilized, getting locked down. The sleep is good as well from Irizumi, trying to add on to more targets. Seconds away from the Kelvin dome, but doesn't have it online. Now the tower dive comes in from OCs. He just starts to feel maybe he just can't die. He's taking away all of their damage into this one.
OCs has been stable, I think is the easiest way to say it, but oh, here we go. Demov on the chase down on Ven, takes Celeste out of the sky. All the movement in the world, it doesn't quite matter when you got a crossbow and you got the ability to just directly click.
Yeah, some big buys. Colt Sack being bought by Venator this game. He's going to also get to a pretty respectable net worth total. Going to have a lot of debuffs to bring him down. With a movement on mid swap. Goes wide, though. That's for Taz. It's like, man, you get so much pressure on him to hit these. But I think Leviathan are just very aware of the threat, especially around the mid lane with no Guardians up. Like, this is... if you're going to come to this part of the map, you need to have your head on the swivel when it comes to playing against Taz.
Also, Jake, we haven't really talked about late game versus early game here, but when I look at the comps, I actually think Abrahams is totally fine with this going late between the Ven and the Geist. Leviathan, I think, is under more pressure to get things moving early. Like, I don't think you want to go to 30 minutes and have it be even if you're Leviathan in this game. I think that probably ends poorly for you.
Oh, what a grapple. Oh my god, downtown. And they're even going to maybe try and turn around for the kill. The Shining Wonder does connect. Ultimate bouncing onto Together, who's actually low on the amount of, despite the Shadow Transform. Celeste needs to get around one more corner. Needs to escape. The heal is perfect from Irizumi. Together. Now caught maybe a little bit deep onto this one. Silver starting to chase down. So is Graves. Abrahams blew a lot into that one. and maybe even just an urn dunk to be done here by the Billy. It's only Hoot in the neighborhood to try and stifle this one. And the dunk is good. Hoot had to just TP out. I mean, he would have certainly been in real trouble there. I believe Rem has the silence hex, so he can't just risk it with the assistant.
Yeah, one of the few items in the game where you actually can stop Sinclair's escape ability. I mean, it kind of makes sense when you think about it. The fact that the character is set up like a Sage Magician also is arguably the best escape in the game. But as we look at it, Urn to Leviathan, I think sorely needed, given the comp they're running and the game state they want to have later into the game. But in terms of income, I'm happy to see this for Sanya because I feel like we've seen a bunch of Geist games recently between regions where the Geist just doesn't get farmed. This is a Geist that's actually accumulating wealth here, Jake, and I think you actually need to on this character. Like, the difference between a Geist that's at par versus a Geist that is at 20-30% ahead of the game is tremendous. But into mid we go. Slam fire out. Frozen Shelter gonna be popped pretty early into this fight, and together desperately trying to stay alive. The Frozen Shelter not enough, and now Saint under the gun, Lycan Curse directly in his face, tearing him to shreds.
And Leviathan just coming into unfriendly territory, taking down 2 quick kills. Maybe Saint just thought, hey, you're in so deep, surely the dome's gonna be enough. But 5 players here for Leviathan, and they could be looking for more. Abraham's trying to punish a little bit, but you're still very healthy on the side of Leviathan. This is far from a free clapback here for Abraham's, especially without the Kelvin Dome to back you up. And yeah, they're going to say no dome. We're going to gamble mid-boss, although we've seen this story before. Abraham's, can you do it again here, fighting around the mid-boss?
Check Saint. Does he have Warp Stone? Rejuve's coming down. Is anyone going to be able to get there in time for the parry? Here we go. In comes Abraham's. Rabbit Hex is out. Hoot with the first steal. Second steal into Abraham's. All 3 charges of Abraham's. The Rejuve. Well played once more. But the Rejuve immediately taken away. Leviathan in on the punish. All Rejuves have been dispelled. And now Leviathan still the ability to fight back together. Low, Hoot, low. And the cleanup is chaotic on both ends.
Graves, still healthy, still chasing them down. The Toxic bleeding out for Saint, and now here comes the 1v1 potentially. Oh, he's not going to chase the Venator, playing this one a little bit more slowly. Pops the Tomb to help push out mid. And the waves are going to be bad enough where, in the end, Leviathan just have to clear things out, I think, and reset the map. But the fact that you get all 3 rejuves there for Abraham's and you still lose, I think, still more real kills than Leviathan did, is kind of scary, right? It shows that, even with an ideal snatch situation, you don't really have the fighting power to take on Leviathan head to head.
One thing as I look at that, though, the mid-boss call for Leviathan, I think it worked out in the sense that they're not behind at the end of it. But man, I mean, calling mid-boss with so many still up for Abraham's, particularly when you're dealing with things like Yamato, like Sinclair, it's a gutsy call just because of how things like Shao Transformation and Rabbit Hex can completely turn a mid-boss fight.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's kind of wild, but it ends up maybe paying off into this one. Thinking about chasing a Celeste, but yeah, with the Warp Stone, with the Superior Stamina, at this point, Ray can do so much, just clearing waves in a position that very few other heroes can, and he needs to keep this wave pushed out pretty constantly, especially because they have a low HP Walker to defend here. You look at the objective status of the game, it's a little better for Abraham's, but the kill would maybe change that. They pull Yamato out of the TP for just a second. Is it going to be enough? He TPs through with her. It's getting a little bit awkward on the chase down. I think did he do the flying strike to get back on the other side of the TP?
I think he flying struck as the TP went and went to the other side of the map. I'm pretty sure that happened.
That's
and
insane.
now, Lycan Curse is nearly down. D-Mob. Can D-Mob find a way? The parry is huge in out of Freebach. Deals with D-Mob in the Veil. No Lycan Curse at the end required.
I think D-Mob maybe was also surprised by Together's ability to slip out of that one with a crazy flying strike back across the map. Now Urn control to be grabbed, although Rem in trouble, maybe needs to jump to somebody just to live into this one. It's a good escape for him, and Billy should pull him out of trouble, but maybe Billy thinks better of it, can turn around, maybe turn this one into a big punish. Remember, Venator is down into this fight. Leviathan coming back into it. Here's the Dome out to slow things down for Abraham's. Shadow Transform as well. Some snipes coming in, but in the end, Abraham's, they pop a lot of ults. They live. It's something. They get their Urn control, but there's going to be a lot of pressure from Leviathan right now. OC's on 24K, 25 on the Graves. Wasn't even in that fight, and still it was enough to back off the Abrahams.
Also, the chase down from the Celeste together in all sorts of trouble here. Shining Wonder comes out, and nothing wondrous about that. Side with the snipe from the backhand side. Frees up Rayake to grab the urn, preventing the comeback urn from Abrahams. Sanya, though, on the Geist. Able to find free Mock. By a little bit chaotic, another snipe. Just a little bit more on the Sanya. Caught by OCs at the very end as Leviathan continues to add on to their advantage. Saint also really, really low towards the end of this fight as the Walker defense continues.
OCs is not low, man. OCs is still healthy on the Graves. I think they are going to fall back, I guess, recognizing that fighting under the Walker is still just a little bit too scary into this one. Urn Dunk might, I mean, you might get this dunk. It is a favored urn, but Leviathan at least are going to be able to claim a Walker as punishment for it. Hoot, though, is sticking around. Maybe I spoke too soon. There's still a lot of players here sticking around, trying to make this defense. Can you fight off this Graves? OC steps up now onto the Graves, into the back line, starting to steal some of this damage away. Has the Ricochet online, but is getting burned down. Is not maybe actually able to back up what he's showing here in terms of this level of aggression. To kill onto this very high net worth hero is exactly what you need. He's evading really well, needs to make it to the zip. Crucial that he lives into this one. And they have just gotten out of there. Wow, that one is insane. If he doesn't live there, that would be a massive respawn time, and maybe the rest of the Leviathan are going to be able to get the cleanup. You came in deep for the carry kill, you don't find it, and it's going to cost you Taz and Together's lives.
I think OC's just beat a lot of those iframe merchant allegations. Getting out on Graves of all heroes with that level HP. Just a little bit more impressive than the standard Mina escape, is what I'll say. But Jake, reviewing the game state, Abraham's still in a world of hurt. Down a little over 15,000 here. I think, accurately 17,000. NA can actually, do the most basic of math, as it turns out. But you take a look at the farm situation. I mean, Sanya's in an okay spot, but the Graves is continuing to be a problem. You mentioned the farm on the OCs, and Graves is one of those heroes where if she has that level of edge, she can just kind of stand and fight and walk at you. And you don't have as many options as you would think. Yeah, I mean, I think OC's went Rico, but once he gets things like inhib, that's going to really change things. Guys build a lot of tankiness in this build, which totally understandable in this game, but the reality of building that tankiness is you don't have as much damage when Graves especially starts reducing it. A catch, though, onto Celeste leads to a quick kill onto Rayake in the mid. And even some Walker pressure simultaneously from Hoot on the left side of the map. So for Leviathan, caught maybe flat-footed here. A deep dive comes in onto the Vindicta. That's an ideal target to start on side. Running for the hills. One more power slash could be good. It's not quite enough for the kill. He lives on slivers of HP together, trying to get that one last bullet. He's going to go all in for it. He does find Sai, but it's going to cost him his life. He's in so deep for this one. Silver here for the chase down. And OC comes also fighting this one. I think OC is going to be God in this fight, man. The full farm Graves is not losing HP right now, ZP. Saint is down. Graves gets to walk forward. No threats in the world. 7-kill streak. The farm continues up. And I think you hit the nail on the head is that Graves isn't even damaged at the end of it. Mid-boss up in 30 seconds. Now, I do wonder if you're Leviathan, do you even consider going mid-boss here? Because Abrahams is going to have the ability to contest, and it's felt like Abraham's day in terms of contesting mid-boss with anything other than an overwhelming advantage.
Huge that the right base guardians do drop in that fight. Gives Hoot like a lot more trouble to now clean up, and it's going to give a powerful zip on the right side of the map for Leviathan. I think they're going to probably look to continue to just take these fights. Because around the Graves right now, I mean, the one thing about this Graves build, though, is you have terrible mid-boss damage. Compared to most carries at this damage level, you really don't have meaningful DPS in the mid-boss, but it looks like they're just going to be baiting it, looking in on the fight now. A big tether up into the sky, a stolen Graves tomb. Is it going to be enough to take this fight on the high ground? Graves still healthy, has this Ricochet inhib, is going to be taking all the damage away right now. Even Geist just doing nothing in the face of this Graves. She's absolutely running it down into all of them. All the damage sucked away. Still healthy, and she looks to just fall back off the play, maybe hunting down this Kelvin who got caught in an unenviable scenario now, surrounded. Sai as well, assisting potentially on this chase down. Maybe over the top. Good jukes from Saint.
The problem is, Abrahams, you're down 2. Look at the map. They're not really in position to actually contest this mid-boss. You have Hoot, who would be the person you'd look to here on Urn duty. Like, this is just full get comeback Urn, defend. They get the extra bonus souls for killing mid-boss. And I mean, even just getting the Urn dunk here, it's not guaranteed at all, Jake. If anything, it's more of an Urn deny, where Abrahams is stuck babysitting the Urn for the next 4 minutes.
Let's go get him.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think we've seen anyone able to fight Graves in quite a while now. Like the late game carry potential seems very real, and even Kelvin now caught outside the base. This is a worst case scenario. This is the hero you want to be able to turn fights around. He's super low, has the dome just to live, but still just can't even find the opportunity to get it off. A tether, he's good enough to catch onto this Geist, and the burst is there. Sai assists that one with a powerful snipe from them. Invicta stacking up yet more damage. He's also, I think, been kind of a relatively quiet game for him, but has been a key player in a lot of these burst kills.
Guardians going down. And the win conditions for Abraham's, Jake, are very rapidly declining. Where not only are they facing down a 30,000 deficit, but still got another 3 minutes of rejuve to deal with. And I mean, I'm just thinking about good things for them right now. And even if you swap OCs and jump OCs with 3 or 4 people, I'm not convinced OCs loses as a 37k Graves at this point.
I mean, the rejuve is really insane when you play this build, because your only risk, right, is being bursted before you can sap people's damage. And with the rejuve, you just have that backup extra life. Maybe he's going to sell some stuff to buy the silencer here? No, just grabs a close quarters, wants to just maybe tempo this game, play for the fight right now. And you're just hostaging the urn in the base, but that's going to mean basically everything outside of the throne is going to be up for grabs. Still, Leviathan showing respect, not going for the end game here. Maybe a catch, though, would be ideal. Oh, the miss on the Shining Wonder, though. But Graves is continuing to chase this one down. You're diving on top of a Geist, but she doesn't have the ulti. You're just disrespecting her free monk as well. Overwhelms Sonya. Without the swap, he's just not a threat at this stage of the game. And now Leviathan stepping up, trying to siege these shrines down. Rest of Abraham's playing out of their own base. There's nowhere else safe for them on the map.
Oh, Dimov in looking for a pick on the Celeste, but the damage is just not there. You're a bit starved on the Ven, and instead you go down and turn. The quick response out of Leviathan. Abraham's falling apart. Not much more left for them here as Leviathan turns the screws to what is likely to be a map 1 victory.
The Graves does it, ZP. The doubters silenced, because honestly, I don't think Abraham's going to be spawning on this one. 2 players with 50 seconds. Dimov on 40. Maybe you get Dimov up in this fight, but you're up against triple rejuve, massive net worth advantage. This should be game 1. Done and dusted. Leviathan sticking around here as the patron transforms. And there are even players diving the fountain here, threatening players who even dare come up. And you're not even able to get that defender's resist. You need to get out here. You need to get on the map. The dome in your own spawn just demonstrates the level of this game. And no one can stop OCs. Gets the cleanup on the throne.
Good job. Good
Leviathan, an innovative draft that pays off big time as they deliver a dominant beatdown to Abraham's here. You might be back in the money match, but you are far outside of the money right now.
No Mina, no problem, says OCs. Also, I think completely deflating any of the allegations before they could get any steam of, oh, this guy's an iframe merchant. No, watch me play Graves, still get super farmed, and take over the game by the very end. And I mean, frankly, Jake, after seeing that level of performance, I don't even know if you consider Mina a high priority ban, because OCs clearly can play other things now at a high level. It's not a one-trick ponies type of situation, as some may have thought.
I'm not even capping ZP. That is like almost exactly the items I've been building on Graves. I'm not. It's nice to be vindicated. Nice to be vindicated by one of the top players here at EU, as OCs makes a character that has been unplayed, untouched. Certainly, I think it's fair to say has been the weakest hero of the Old Gods New Blood update, right? Like the one that really hasn't seen play. And OCs is making us wonder, why is that really the case? This is a huge game from him on the Graves. Hard carried, out carried the Venator and the Geist. They just fell flat. I don't think there was really a moment in this game where they could take the 1v1 against the Graves, other than maybe the first few minutes. Oh my God, look at that bounce. Look at the cleave. Graves is like, have fun with the rejuve, bro. I'm just gonna kill you all.
Yeah, that's the key difference between this rejuve fight and the one we saw in the last game, is that the last game didn't have a Graves just cleaving everyone with split shot ricochet. I don't even know if she had ricochet at that point. She had split shot for sure, but either way.
He like rushed the max passive, which is really interesting. It's like a super greedy build, right? All in on the farming. But then when you're in these like stacked up fights, you're basically cleaving everyone. Look at that team. I think that's just like the crazy bug with the Flying Strike, because it just lets you, I think there's basically nothing in the game that stops Flying Strike from just continuing to pull across the map.
Honestly, shades of Dendi Fountain Hook
Yeah,
with
right.
that back there.
It's true. It's the punch fountain hook. It's the defensive fountain hook.
Yeah. Man, I gotta say, Leviathan continues to impress here, Jake. This is a week that, look, we still got plenty of series left to go. It still may be. But for Abraham's coming in going, all right, it's our time, give us back our throne. They're not really looking like the favored team at the moment, Jake.
No, you got to give all credit to Leviathan. Just top dogs right now. And I mean, it looks like they're accustomed to winning at this point, and you can see why. I will say from Abraham, still some amazing plays around the objectives. Some of those mid-boss contests were way too close for comfort. Like Leviathan could have easily blown the game open much sooner. But OC's 8-1-16, 57,000 damage. Absolute dominant show there.
Well, I'd say Graves is back, but technically this is the first time Graves has actually been here as a serious force. We're not going to count some of the other games that's been played, whereas, a little bit more meme-y, especially like the first time Abraham's played it. They're just like, haha, we win no matter what. We'll throw in the Graves. No. In this case, Jake, the Graves was a force of nature and a big contributor to why Leviathan actually won this. Man, oh man. I gotta say, it's just a lot can change in 1 week of play.
Absolutely. 50. Graves is truly hard carrying this game, right? Like over and above by a ridiculous margin in the damage. And that's always been the way Leviathan, I think, has been approaching the game, is they really have trust in OCs to be essentially the sole damage source. The rest of the team is just playing like a very high tempo fighting style. Like even overseas, he's 9-2-20 with only 25k damage. Like this is a relatively low damage game for these frontliners. But I think it's mostly because OCs is soaking it all up. Also in this draft, you've got Irizumi on the Rem. So you've got like the Rem minions, you got the Graves, zombies. This is actually such a brutal game to try to macro in for Abraham's. Maybe an underrated part of the success here for Leviathan.
Also, in terms of who's playing what, like I get why Dimov ended up on the Ven in this game, just because of the team comp they're on. But I don't know if that was the most natural hero for Dimov, where you're actually getting like the most out of Dimov there. Because every time I think about like Dimov taking over a game, Dimov is on heroes that have the ability to push limits really hard. Venator really isn't a dive deep, get out safely sort of hero. He doesn't have the movement to pull that. Like Venator is more so, I have calculated this is a safe engagement to get into. I will deal my damage. I will deal it efficiently and then leave. Like, I don't know. To me, that doesn't really play to the strengths of Dimov, where Dimov, otherwise does ridiculous things on heroes like Calico or, heroes like more recently Apollo. I don't know. It's not the most natural fit to me.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like you want to see him on something that has more mobility to really make those plays, which is just such a huge factor for so many characters in Deadlock. But also Venator and Geist have been top tier picks, right? So like you can't really fault Abrahams for going for these like top tier meta picks. I just think Leviathan had a read and they had a way to counter the meta, which always after a new patch, I feel like that puts you in the driver's seat. It's so much better if you have the answer, then you end up in such a dominant position. If you get the better pick in theory that you able to grab, like what was Graves' 5th or 6th pick, like it was very low prio in the draft and they still get it. Now I think this kind of throws things into whack, because now you have to really maybe consider with the way game one went, how you deal with the Graves in the draft, which may not have been something that Abrahams have thought about once so far this patch.
My guess is they don't want to deal with it at all for the rest of the day. There's going to be a rage reaction next draft. That's my prediction. But guys, we got to go to a break. When we come back, Leviathan looking to put down Abrahams again, 2-0. Leviathan continuing to look strong here in the money match, taking down Abrahams in map 1. ZP back here with Jake. And Jake, anyone that was still doubting Leviathan, man, they better stop, especially after the map we just saw.
It's crazy to think this team wasn't on top for long, because showing things like the adaptability to pick heroes that no one else is picking, to execute in ways that no one else is executing, is something that we expect to see from teams that have been on the top for a long time, right? That they're willing to innovate and push the limits. But to be a team that just recently now, broke into the top slot, they are holding on tight. Abrahams looks like they don't have much of a chance here in game 2. It's going to take, I think, a very sharp draft to get them back into contention here, ZP.
Also, with all the complaints about Graves aiming or lack thereof, I got flashbacks to 2016. Like, yeah, we have the community tournament vibe here. And if you watched OW community tournaments back in the day, you'd see Winston get played. You just see the old copy pasta, I have no aim, I have no brain. Yep, you guessed it on the Winston name. I'm just like the Graves range is so high. I'm starting to expect to see the copy pasta come back.
So if you're a true Graves enjoyer, I realize, I think I play all the heroes that people get like super tilted at. Like Viscous and Graves are like the toxic, like everybody hates you in the lobby heroes. But you know what? If the enemy is tilted, you're doing something right. That's my view. That's just my personal view.
Also, if you're getting tilted at Viscous, buy rebuttal. Like just buy rebuttal.
True.
Like, what are you doing with your life?
And then I'll intentionally miss the puddle punch on you to make you to bait your rebuttal parry with the sound. That's the new level. That's the next level. There's levels to it, ZT.
But at the very least, like you get another rebuttal in like 2 seconds.
True,
Like you're not paying like a huge tax.
DB,
but
stop
okay.
telling people the counters to Viscous. I don't want you countering the Viscous. Just let the punches happen. It's okay. It'll be fine. You'll get back to the spawn one way or the other.
Well, Kelvin gets banned from Abraham's, signaling they don't want to play against the Kelvin, but they're not going to be playing it themselves. Angling here for what has to be first pick Silver. I mean, Silver has been nothing but first pick all day long, and I think if you're going to play the Silver, angling to get the Kelvin out for the other team is going to make your Silver that much more effective. So
it seems like an obvious pick though, CP. Like, no, it feels like just an odd first ban. Like, I don't know. I like that they get the Silver, but is it that scary? Like, because in keeping with their previous theory, they could still just grab the Pocket later to deal with the Kelvin the way they were banning before. I wonder if Pocket, with that heal off affliction, is going to be priority, even with Kelvin not in the game.
I'll have to see. I'm also curious what's going to be prioed. So Leviathan, they decided to go for Celeste, but the second pick is probably what's most interesting to me here, is that you could go for the Ven. You could even higher prioritize the Graves if you feel like Abraham's is going to mid-stage ban it, which I think they will based on the thrashing that they got in the last game. So what do you see as good? Instead, you go Geist. People just see Geist as that good. It's not too surprising. In response, I think Abraham's here, Jake, bare minimum is Ven +1.
Yeah, I will say, I think the Graves was really perfect in that game against this like heal sustain, Venator plus Geist, these heroes that like really don't have great escape tools, and Graves could just stick on them. I do think against certain carries, like against like a Mina or something, you're gonna have a much harder time on the Graves to stay on top of those targets and actually chase them down. So I like that they go to the Geist this game. I don't think you want to force the Graves into a ton of different matchups. I don't think it's actually like a top tier carry. I think it just fit really well in that last game, and they had the flexibility to go for it. So for the Geist, old, tried, true, and tested in terms of the carry role, not something that you would be upset at all about having on the roster.
Well, let me pose a question to you, though, because I think the mid-stage ban is going to be used against OCs no matter what. Do you...
Oh my God.
They go for Graves. So, yeah, they realized Graves is going to get banned. Like, they knew... My question was going to be, do you just ban the Graves and accept the Mina? Well, you don't even get the option of doing that. So, Leviathan is coming out of this with first pick. Looking at this, what is the most likely to come out as first pick? Do you ban Paradox? Because I feel like Leviathan... Well, no, I don't think you need to. You know why, Jake? Because I think it's going to be Rayek on Celeste, who otherwise would be playing pick heroes to begin with. Like, they have Celeste in what would otherwise be the pick hero slot, so I don't think that's what your ban has to be.
No idea how busy I am.
They go for Apollo. Okay.
Get rid of the Apollo. Yeah, maybe just thinking that some of these like super high mobility Spirit heroes, I wouldn't mind a Pocket for Leviathan here. Like, I think the healing, like taking off the healing from Silver and Billy is actually pretty huge. And these are frontliners that don't have much of an option to like play around that thread, but they just go for, like, I think this is kind of their vision last game, is the macro pressure from Rem Graves together. I think it's better than the sum of its parts, right? If you have just one of these heroes, yes, it can be annoying that like your waves are split push, but like, hey, one carry on the side lane, not that big of a deal. But if you have like 2 waves free pushing without heroes invested, that's pretty massive for Leviathan.
I was going to say Pocket Paradox here, but they go Vin. I actually, with the Graves being on the table, I don't hate the idea of a Pocket here
I think
either.
Pocket's really good.
Yeah, like I think of all heroes here, I actually think you go Pocket in this next pick, not even the Paradox. And I mean, you still have the option to go Paradox later, but they go Paradox. That's risky to me because I think with the Leviathan's hero pool, there was no chance of them picking Paradox with the last 2 picks. But theoretically, Leviathan could still pick Pocket. So I'm looking at this draft, and I think that might be a bit of an error.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they missed the opportunity to have the Pocket to deal with some of these players. And oh man, I feel like now you really need it, right? Now you really need to deny pick the Pocket for Leviathan. I almost think it's still insanely good for Abrahams if you end up giving it up. And arguably, we don't have the Hoot hero picked yet, so I think it would be pretty comfortable for Abrahams to go for it. See if Leviathan agree, or if they just want to like build a bunch of DBs. And they're gonna go Mo Krill, which I actually think, I guess it makes it a little scarier to go for the pocket, right? It's a very powerful catching tool that could punish things like Paradox Vin or even like a Spirit Nuker like pocket. I still think you should go pocket. I think it's the right pick, honestly, for Abrahams, and I think it could make some big plays with that maxed ult, and they will grab it. I agree with you. I think Leviathan made a mistake letting it get this deep in the draft. I think this is actually a really powerful 6th pick, and you shouldn't have allowed it through. That being said, you do have the lockdown from Bo, and you do still have a lot of playmaking, and in the end, hitting you can afflict 1 or 2 players, but if it's not a big like team fight full affliction, it's not going to feel that devastating.
Also, Abrahams has ungodly combos in this game. I mean, I'm thinking about ways some of these team fights can go down. Chain Gang into Venator cleaving multiple targets into Lycan Curse. I mean, the potential for Leviathan to just get run over on some of these engages is actually unreal. Like, yeah, you have combo to deal with some of it, but I mean, also the affliction on top of it, like
Chain Gang is terrifying, right? Like, like you get Chain Gang, you're gonna get like all staked into Alkfire, into like a million AoEs, you're dead, So I agree with you. I think there's a ton of powerful tools. If you look at the mobility in the comp too, I think they have some good tools to escape Graves. Venator is like the one, Venator, I guess Paradox too, are the heroes that don't really have tools to help get out of that limited Graves range. But for Silver and Billy, they have some pretty good tools. That being said, there's heroes that also use those tools to go in often, so maybe they won't actually feel as confident going for it against the Graves. Curious for Leviathan though, with the Geist on the pick, do they want to play the same style of Graves in that hard carry role, or do they want to show us something a little different, maybe like a Spirit build, maybe going for a little bit more of that rat pressure, emphasizing the Tombstone? I'm kind of curious to see. I expect to see, I guess, the same thing we saw in game 1, but with the Geist on the field, it's going to be, I think, a little bit less comfortable to have that like very greedy buildup.
I think it's going to be the exact same build, and the main reason is just think about who's playing it. Like, I don't see OCs wildly changing their Graves build. I think they are laser focused play Graves in one specific way. But I don't know. As I look at this draft here, while Leviathan continues to surprise, and there are win conditions for sure in the comp that they have, I kind of feel like too much got given up to Abrahams here. Mostly, I think the Billy is the part that is terrifying. Like, you look at the draft here, if you could swap Billy and Geist between the two teams, I actually think Abrahams is way less scary. Chain Gang has so many natural combinations in this draft, and there's a lot of ways to set it up, a lot of ways to get people in rough spots. I mean, dude, even the Vin on top of it, like, you could potentially have Chain Gang into Tether Crows on top of everything else that's getting thrown in here. I mean, the Abrahams team fight is unreal, and yeah, you have a few things to deal with it, like Shining Wonder if you're a little bit too close, or Nap Time, but I don't know. I look at this and I feel like Abrahams has 1,000,001 ways to win this game.
Yeah, I see I think the team fight combos, I see your point. They're super scary. I do think though, like Mo could be able to make a lot of solo kill plays in this game. Like there's a lot of squishy targets that should go down pretty easy. Even for Billy, like you're going to go running forward, chain ganging people, like playing with a ton of confidence. You could just be comboed and like hard bursted by Shiv and Geist and Celeste, like under a combo in a difficult spot. I also think Shiv, the knives damage is going to be pretty scary this game for characters like Vin and Pocket. You do not have the tankiness to tolerate those knives. Like a few knives in you might just like bleed out from full or get hunted down by Shiv. And, I think that actually does mean, or rather does make this one a little bit still more scary. I think for Leviathan, though, they need to, as you said, evade those big team fights. Like if you end up, I think if Abrahams gets a chance to force mid boss with like Billy ult and Pocket ult and stuff, it is going to be really hard to see your way through all those AoE spells. We need some insane counterspell timings from Leviathan, whether that prevents you from being pulled in or blocks something like the Affliction. It is scary. Like this is a textbook Abraham's, lot of individual playmaking, but also a ton of team fight potential. And as we get into this one, stakes are set. Leviathan up 1-0 over Abraham's. Last game was an absolute beatdown. Graves absolutely took over the lobby from OCs. One of the first times we've seen that in Night Shift. Can he do it again? They're going to double back-to-back pick a hero that we have barely seen picked twice in all of Night Shift so far since the hero came out.
I mean, one way or another, we're about to see a show. Personally, I think this is all the makings of something going to 3, which, by the way, very welcome news to Melee Creeps, where the side story for NA is that Saya had some unescapable family event or a real-life event in general that normally wouldn't have been a problem if Melee Creeps were defending, but because they're up first, they told me ahead of time that they had Ranger set up as a sub. So if you're a fan of melee creeps and you want to see Saya, you have to be an Abraham's fan in this game, because otherwise Saya may not be playing for the vaunted melee creeps versus FPS lounge match that's taking place right after this.
Yeah, you gotta cheer for the long series. Buy him some time to get back into it, because that'll be a scary one, right? That's a BO1 to start off NA, man. We have so many good games today. Question is, will this be one of them? We think Abrahams have some powerful tools, but last few times these teams have faced off, it's been all Leviathan. It has felt that there's a little bit of a power differential. Like even last game, arguably is closer because Abrahams get some like nice executions, snatching a lot of those rejuves away, which we know them for. But in the end, the macro game is what decides the winner more often than not. You can make some nice parry plays, but if you're losing on the lanes, if you know the waves are pushed against you with this Graves and Ram, it might not be so easy even with those big plays to get the dub.
All right. Map number 2, Abrahams on the brink once more. Can Leviathan put them away here and now? That is what's at stake. Looking at the lanes here, you got Billy Vindicta for Abrahams on the left-hand side, Silver Paradox in middle, and then Pocket on the right. And I expect this to be a hyper-roaming task game. Although you think about some of the EU games here today, it has been more burgery at times than the worst of NA.
Yeah, NA I feel like is like completely box run pilled, and EU is down to clown in the early game, like down to take these like level 1 rotations. This lane is interesting though. I think Graves really does want the matchup against Venator in the early game. I think that one's going to be pretty comfortable, but Pocket happy to send the cape through, and the early wave clear is definitely going to be a little bit lacking.
Jake, we already got Shiv coming over here to the left. It is a minute 30. And okay.
Shiv ganking with the extra charge knives, actually kind of scary. Like if you have to hit a few knives and just get out of there, that's some very annoying harass in the lane for Billy to have to deal with. And it looks like he did hit that second knife, so maybe a little bit annoying there for the lane that already is going to be under huge pressure. This is a Rem lane. Like these super minions crashing on tower, these are hard to clear.
Also, you take a look at the farm. Fremont didn't even lose any farm there because laning with Rayake over in mid. So that was well timed by Fremont to just get a little bit of, unsymmetrical pressure. And, the results actually seem pretty good so far as together a bit pained in lane at the moment.
Yeah, these super early Shiv ganks, I actually think there's something to be said for that. Whoa, some big damage coming in. Shiv in trouble. Ven happy to just clear off some of these creeps to maybe mitigate the pressure coming in, but I expect to see this lane continue to be a problem overseas.
Oh, the hyperline!
Oh,
that was a hyperline,
enough
Jake.
To kill him, but it's mad. I mean, he's got to go back to base, right? He was going back to base maybe anyway, but once again, another powerful wave is going to crash on this tower. Vin, I don't think Vin really wants as a hero to be solo defending and getting some of the solo souls. Like, it's the snipe online, which maybe could pay off, but it doesn't give you like this powerful team fight tool that some of the ult rushing heroes really like to have.
Oh, the last hit of Slam Fire in from Hoot finishes off Rayake, where you look to people that you want to have a big game. And another hyperline!
What is
up
he
and
doing here?
over,
What a sick
Sanya!
read.
Yeah, Sanya comes on in. I thought that was Demov for a second. That usually is the Demov special, but Mo assassinated behind enemy lines as Sanya, looking all sorts aggressive, tries to get the parry. Not going to happen. Instead, just get into life, just soloing out of him between the skulls and the Graves left click. Pocket coming in just in the nick of time to alleviate the Graves pressure.
Yeah, Pocket also diving behind tower. Crazy, man. I think that there's like some sick reads, right? They just expect that partition's coming in. Here comes the counter gank, though, from Rayake. Venator came so deep for this one, kept in a dangerous position by the Graves. Mo also back and healthy, trying to get the chase down, but Sonya being able to grab the zip there should have gotten him out of trouble. So great footwork from the carry of Abrahams to stay alive, denying the value from the roam. This is Abrahams fighting for their tournament lives right now, doing pretty well at that.
Potentially about to have 3 men for Leviathan over in mid lane. So this ends up panning out. Hoot going to be forced on the defensive as Celeste in on the drive-by. Rayake forced to look back. Of course, we're taking a look at Billy on the left-hand side. Together, just keeping the wave pushed up. Just staring at middle, and it was much ado about nothing. Hoot and Tess were able to deal with some of the pressure that came on in, and God, you talk about early leads here. Hoot about to get Lycan Curse up as Sanya gets the last hit on the OCs. OC is going to have to fight for the farm this time around here, Jake. 2.7k on the Graves. It has not been a great early start. And oh my word, side nearly goes down.
The Dimov pocket has been a mainstay in professional Deadlock for quite some time. I think this is one of his best heroes. We really have barely seen him on it, though. Sai and OCs are absolutely feeling that pressure. An early affliction is going to be online very soon. Sonya already has the Iridomini. I mean, this is a scary lane to stick into, but Irizumi, great pillow catch onto together. So both sides, I think, winning with their hard carry lanes. I guess it depends who's the hard carry in this game. Is it the Graves? Is it the Geist? Maybe it's got to be the Geist this game as Graves under more pressure. Venator looking for that dive with the Iridomini, and he is going to get that finish.
Sanya's been having a hell of a game so far. I mean, both the Hyperline chase down into the Iridomini. This has been quite good. Also, one of the scariest things to see is a Ven starting to hit higher breakpoints, but gets parried. Deep dive here by Fremok into the slice and dice, into the parry on the tower, still looking for the Ven in and around Sanya, desperately trying to get survived. And okay, Dimov there on the fall through, drops some frogs thereafter. Not enough to save Sanya, but Mo may be paying a price here towards the end. The frogs doing their dirty work, and Dimov not yet sated here. Jake looking for the kill. How deep does he dive? Gonna respect it for now.
Yeah, it's a little scary. That kill into Sonya is probably worth it because just, you know, how good of a game Sonya is having, you really need to shut him down. They also find Hoot on the mid lane, maybe getting a little bit aggressive, trying to pressure a tower. But fight just continues to progress here. Tag along now onto the Graves, and together has to just full run out of this one, but he's staying slowed down. OC finds a crucial comeback kill to get back into the game. He's going to get in that tombstone should he want to deploy it. A lot of early fighting investment on this Graves. And the players rotating into support. I mean, the value of Irizumi can't be understated at this phase of the game, right? And turning around some of these fights. And he's at 6k net worth. I mean, he's top net worth on Rem, getting a lot out of the map right now.
Rem's able to get scary levels of wealth at times. And, you know, you don't see it as uncontested at this level of play, but, you know, just the part where, you know, depending on the games, you get free sinners by going to enemy territory. Either way, off in the middle, speed boost on the Celeste. Down, there we go. Hoot looking for the punish. Swap comes out. Bit of mess here into the middle. The chase down on Tess, who actually gets really low on the in-between. Tess, I think, maybe able to get escape. Is he ticking down from knives right now? Fremok was looking for it, but a parry on back in the middle. In, off the parry. Celeste down. Hoot able to stay alive and get the finish.
I feel like Rake almost got baited by getting that parry, right? Sticking around, couldn't quite get the finish. Combo comes in, a parry as well. Sonya styled on here, overseas. What a play from Cyan overseas. And after an insane start from this lane from Abrahams, the counter kills have been very good for Leviathan. Still, Abrahams winning that fight in the mid lane will be enough to maybe grab this mid Guardian together. Could cost him his life. Super low HP, and yeah, will exact that price.
Abrahams, even though it was looking good for them at the beginning, now actually down a little bit overall. Though, in terms of heroes you want to have farm, Sanya's still been having a pretty nice game so far, last fight notwithstanding. Also, speaking of Sanya, in on the right-hand side, gets the gut shot into the melee. Iridomini pulled out, looking for Geist. Has to take slow, misses 2 shots here so far. Doesn't miss the third, though, directly onto the head. A little bit of overkill towards the end. Mo, though, still in hot pursuit. Sai trying to make Sanya pay. Melee off to the other side. Dimov in support. Fremok has come on in, though, and okay. Affliction is dropped. Sanya ticking down on the outskirts. Can't come back into the fight. May actually be dead, but no, I think gets away. Dimov, though, gives his life for the distraction.
Oh, the snipes. Thinking about it. Saint doesn't see the window to get that kill. Shiv maybe just a little bit too tanky on this one. Way too close for comfort. The rotations from Shiv. Fremok has been super comfortable on this character for quite some time now. He's having a solid game to boot, so really across the board, it's not just that you're relying on OCs. There's a lot of players having decent games here for Leviathan. And OCs, I think, finally is going to be in his comfort zone. Has this right side of the map to just kind of farm up, restore his levels, going for that split shot next item. Does get the Sinner stolen away from him, though. It's a nice little prize to grab for together.
All this action here, Jake, and it's about to get more intense. 45 seconds away till first earn drop and buffs, and down underneath mid, Hoot takes a bite out of Rayek. Nice little hit of souls before the action gets even more intense in just a moment.
Looks like Graves dodged another gank there. The swap from Taz wasn't enough for the kill, but 2 kills in mid for Leviathan. Okay. Definitely a nice stabilization effort. Or rather, for Abrahams against Leviathan. I think he's going to be rushing Divine Barriers EPA. He's going with Silence Wave first, which makes sense, but I think it's going to be a very quick DB this game to deal with the Pocket. That is sort of your saving grace, as powerful as Pocket is.
Up until, wait, okay, Demov takes a jump pad, ends up getting hit for the stun. Bo able to clear out distance. Lee was able to capture the buff. Abrahams gets the buff on the left-hand side, and I mean, Abraham's stronger position over on the left, but oh my word, Sanya caught by the combo towards the end. Earn control, though, is going to go the way of Abrahams.
I feel like Sanya's been sticking around on this tower defense too long, right? He's died, what, 3 times defending this tower? Like, it lives a while, but just a T1 Guardian is really not worth all that much. And those deaths have, you know, taken what was a really exponential game and brought him back down to earth, right? He's kind of just running with the pack here.
That's a really good point. No, it's an excellent point too, Jake, because, I mean, you think about Ven, it's such a difference when he gets ahead of the game in terms of Iradomini becoming like a 2-shot ability versus just contributing damage. But man, the damage on Cell Walker, Leviathan really committing onto this push on the right-hand side, which
nice
is also
swap,
having the benefit of helping defend. But Sanya up and over.
He's playing the verticality well. Here comes Billy with the chain gang, maybe going to pull people deep under the Walker to try and get some counter punishes here. Fremont already down into this one, no one to tag along with, and it turns into a clean triple kill. So great punish from Together there. They do find the Walker, but 3 kills is a high price to pay for that one.
It's not just the 3 kills, it's also the fact that they're giving up Earn Turn in. Yes, you're able to punish Hoot on the other side so you get another kill, but Abrahams, well, game state wise, I actually think you're okay being down a little bit at this point, but OC's on Graves, on the hunt. A little bit of chase down onto Tass, who otherwise is just gonna smoothly get away.
Yeah, definitely good execution from Taz to get out of that one. I mean, if you get that second kill, it would have felt much better, I think, for Leviathan. Now I think it's up to Abrams to try and find a Walker of their own. Demov does have that Affliction online. I'm curious if that's getting close to max, if he's even really prioritizing that level, given that Pocket, I think, is a very ability point hungry hero, right? You really want those levels on Cape and Suitcase and even Barrage, right? Like, there's a lot of important mid-game investments in your cooldowns just to be able to be, I think, a little bit more up-tempo. She was insanely deep, by the way, on the map.
Yeah, not so hot take. I think ability point wise, all the abilities like across the game are a lot more meaningful. But okay, Fremont might have been off a lot here.
No, he might be okay. He's doing crazy things. He's doing stylish moves here. Sai combo, but it's onto the Billy, and Billy's still healthy here. He's continuing this fight. Remember, Sai with the life buff, super tanky. This one may actually be favoring Fremont and Sai, man. Insane brawliness on this right side. Sonya went in deep for this one. Can he managed to get out of that? The killing blow does miss, but Fremont, the bleed is enough. Still, Billy, desperation mode for this punish, but a beautiful parry. What a read from Sai. Saw that melee coming a mile away. Fremont, the bloodletting may just barely be enough on the shiv. He's got almost no HP, but he's out of there. What a profitable engagement from Leviathan. Insane movement, and it's going to turn into even more. Saint committed for those kills, got clapped back. In the end, it's a 3-0 right back in Leviathan's favor.
Also, the pain just continues for Sanya. I mean, you were calling out earlier, and you take a look. I feel like it's been about 5 or 6 minutes since Sanya had a good fight, and anyone who's played, especially an M1 hero, knows how frustrating it is to be in this situation. Tess, dealing with this less pressure, just time wall, teleport, says, nope, don't want any part of that.
Combos on cooldown.
Also, in terms of farm, Hoot was starting to get ahead in middle, and things have calmed down a little bit for Hoot. At the same point, Rem, though, getting hit with the swap, but off the swap, able to tag along directly in the Fremont, gets the safe positioning, tag along back in the overseas. Now Leviathan looking to punish after the swap attempt. Affliction dropped in the middle of the fight. Not quite sure how many Demov hit, but Leviathan, it's enough to spook him, Jake.
Yeah, Fremont maybe in trouble here, trying to just move out of this one, but I think Leviathan recognized the Affliction just a little bit too much to fight into. Overseas and Sai also low HP. They do not want to feed away these streaks. And Ozzy is up very deep on the left side Walker. He's getting ganked right now. Graves still healthy though. Could maybe try to resist this one, playing around with that tombstone, but with this many players all around you, the burst comes in. Wait, the zombies are hitting. Taz low, does die to Ozzy's in the end. The toxic bullet's enough. And despite the 3-on-1, he still claims a prize and a kill and clears the creeps. Like, that's a very strong play from the Graves.
Graves, one of the few heroes in the game that can be completely dead and still get a kill towards the end. You know, the zombies picking up the cause. I will say, though, relative to the last game, OCs has a lot of things that just kind of auto-kill a Graves here, whether it be a Silver coming in or being lower HP and having Saint on the finish.
Yeah, big burst hitting this guy. She does not have the swap and has gone for very greedy build. Needs to get around the corner with his chain gang, but he can't quite do it. No swap available. Together's going to run that one down right into the immobilization, but the Dispel Magic does get him out of there. Takes away a lot of those status effects that Graves loves to apply. Definitely a good trade. It's a full court press here. Leviathan hitting on all sides of the map, not dissuaded by a couple deaths in the mid lane. Sai tanks a trap, but with the burrow, he's going to be tanky enough. Just get out of this one.
Left Walker will survive for now as Earn Control goes to Abrahams. Not a bad spot to be in. Also, with Sai dead for 20 seconds, I think you just run for the quick Earn Dunk here. I think you have a window of opportunity, one in where Leviathan, maybe they could contest, but I don't think it's a great idea. They don't even have nap time here, Jake. Like, with no nap time, I actually think you're together. You just run the turn in, and you dare Leviathan to do something about it. Yeah,
they're thinking about it, though. They're popping the Graves to him. But even walking up to just get close to this Billy is pretty scary. But here comes Fremont trying to get under. It does break the Earn out of his hands, and Fremont slipping away scot-free. This could turn into a big team fight. Affliction comes down. Looks like it was on the Geist, maybe the Graves, but this fight's actually looking good for Leviathan. Together, slivers of HP. Overseas, though, hold on. He's down to Sonya. And that was without even the Iridomini. Graves also knocked out of this one. Beautiful connections. Abraham's keeping their low HP players alive. Leviathan dropping like flies now. It's up to Freok and Rig to really bring this one back. Venator would be a nice kill to find. Really one of the highest power kills. This gun buff is paying huge dividends, though. Massive damage being pumped into the Shiv. And the bloodletting gonna finish him off. Great read from Sonya. 5 kills so far in the team by Rig. Trying to find something back, but might just be giving his life as well.
Fremont felt the power of the Lord there. I mean, very few heroes in the game can annihilate a Shiv's health bar, but a Blessed Stake and a few shots of Iridomini will set you right. I think the real hero to me, though, Jake, the way that fight started out, it was bad positioning from Leviathan where they were a little bit behind on getting there. And I think Dimov did get a 2-man Affliction, which kind of set the stage for 2 of the early picks. It put OCs in a bad spot, assuming he did get hit, which
I think it was OCs and Overseas. So it's like, that's probably ideal, right? You find the 2 carries. So like, it's so hard for them to fight Afflicted. They kind of send it anyway. Maybe just feeling like the Earn is too big a prize to give up, but it ends up with a very expensive fight, about as bad as it gets, really, for Leviathan. I mean, they got pretty much 6-man wiped plus Earn Dunk against them.
It gives Abrahams a pretty distinct advantage, and also I think the dark side of the Graves comp, for as good as it looked last game, is that all the power of Graves, where it's like, hell yeah, I feel like the best stat-checking hero of all time, you do not feel good about your inability to outplay if you're actually coming from behind. Like, it is not a hero that wants to be behind, because your ability to deal with anything is bad. Yes.
Yeah, if you're trying to run away and escape, it's not going to feel that good. You do have the macro pressure, which is nice, but I think Abrahams have not shown weakness in that regard this game, right? They've been very aware of the threat of like a macro push. Oh no, we're doing him so dirty on his cam right now. Free Mog.
Hey, you know, everyone has movement moments.
Bit of a move. Wait, so deep on the map looking for OC's Hoot. It's kind of crazy for this one. And on the opposite side, with no Walker here to protect her, going to chase down the Billy, but with the Dispel Magic with Vindicta behind. He's out of there. Both teams really looking for plays deep on the other side of the map. Trying to defend the Walker is Pocket. Does clear a lot of those creeps, but maybe the mid Walker just destined to die. The push way too aggressive here from Leviathan. And Abrahams, despite the soul lead, you don't feel it. The macros against them. They're going to trade Walker for Walker, but arguably that's an advantage considering Leviathan are behind in the souls. This is their second Walker to the first from Abrahams, and a big combo now, but a really risky target. If he's able to get that ultimate online, this one could absolutely turn against you. Affliction comes in from Dimov. Leviathan in a rough spot in this fight. Fremont starting to tick out. Liking Curse online as he looks to chase down Rem +1, but the TP away. Probably going to be a powerful tool here, and Rem might even be able to get to the tunnels.
No,
he didn't.
Tunnels denied. Hoot gets in there at the last moment. Back in the wolf form we go, but not a great situation for Rem. Shots of slam fire just crushing the HP as Dimov gets the finish. Where, by the way, Dimov's afflictions have been ridiculous the last few fights. I mean, you're seeing why I think even going back to last game, Is Dimov bad at Venator? No. Is it a waste rather than putting Dimov on something like a pocket? I think yes.
They're going to try and fight this one back. Iradomini now popped Sonya looking for kills. A lot of low players, though. There's still something to be said about this fight for Leviathan. Big Grave Zombies running it down on mid. The ultimate is out for Hoot, and Celeste senses an opportunity to pounce here on the Silver. They need more damage to continue cleaning this one up. Tether comes in as well. A lot of focus fire on the Celeste. She needs a bit of support into this one, but OCs has no interest in this fight. He has to back off. Too low to continue.
Tether on Celeste will never not be one of the funniest interactions in the game. All this movement and just corralled into a tiny little area. Honestly, Jake, I think this is pretty close to game over for Leviathan, even though it's only a 10k lead so far. So long as Abrahams don't give up any dumb picks, I don't think Leviathan is running a comp that has much in the way of comeback potential. Like, you're dealing with a proximity pick hero in Mo. You're dealing with a hero like Graves that does not function well from behind. This is basically where Abrahams wants to be, and so long as they don't make a massive mistake, I actually don't think Leviathan has a lot of like win conditions to get back into this game.
Yeah, I think the maxed out affliction is huge, right? Taking away the ability to heal is pretty huge here. Oh, but hold on, maybe a catch with the combo. They can't quite catch Sonya, just inches away. Positioning so crucial right there. Would have been a really nice pick to find. Also would have been maybe risking a team fight because Billy was right behind. Maybe in the end, Leviathan might actually be lucky they didn't get that pick.
That's the other thing too. I mean, we talked a lot about draft, but the natural synergy of the team fighting for the Abrahams comp is just ridiculous. It is probably one of the most powerful team fighting compositions we've seen. A lot of ways for them to initiate fights, a lot of ways to chain one skill into another. It's not, for Leviathan, they have to run the gauntlet. Nap time though, gonna be the way they start up this fight. Hoot takes down Rayhake on the left-hand side while this little skirmish is going on the right.
Definitely going to be scary now. Down one, earn threatened. Abraham's looking to expand the lead, looking to force a game 3 here. And they're doing this one clinically, right? They're just not yielding anything. Leviathan keeps making these looks. They keep trying to find some way back into it. And I admire that. It's what you got to do from behind, right? Try to find your moment to get aggressive and make a play. They're continuing to fight this one. Combo onto somebody, and Sonya's just going to grab the Earn Dunk, but no one's dying just yet. It's actually Sai who drops despite deploying the combo. Dimov still has that affliction. OCs has found Saint. But if this affliction connects, this one looks very terrifying. Life buff on Graves, trying to just play away out of this one. Silence Wave Honor, the damage burst is ridiculous. This Graves just cannot live into the team fight. The execution is good. Sonya takes her head off. Geist now up next in the targeting block. Still, everyone's low for Abraham. It's not exactly free, but 3 versus 5. Leviathan need these cleanups more than they've needed anything else in their lives. Hoot together, slivers of HP. The second liking curse of the fight for Hoot, but I think this one actually, maybe in the end, is still turning towards Shiv.
So you look at Fremont towards the end. I mean, for Leviathan, not the worst result out of that fight relative to what it could have been. Still, though, down 20k. And you take a look at how some of the things transpired in that fight, where the difference on Graves, where you're even to a little bit behind in the game versus when you were ahead like the last game, just could not be more profound. OC's was a battle tank in the last game towards the end because of the lead. Whereas in this case, Sanya just walks up, gut shot, melee, Iradomini, and just basically deleted from the server.
So this Vindicta is like kind of scaling. Like, he's got a lot of snipe kills at this point in the game. Like, he's more relevant than you would think, and has gone for a very defensive build. Like, with the debuff remover, he's especially hard to kill, or rather dispel magic, excuse me. And the rescue beam to kind of pull people out who are comboed. It's like a really nice natural response to combo, pulling the Mo out of position as well. Irizumi with the Divine Barrier can deal with like one of the targets who gets afflicted, but in the end, right, like what you're really worried about is when it's like a multiple key players that the Divine Barrier goes to the right person. Uh-oh, it is Zip Knock. Is it? Are you really going to chase Shiv, though? I think this is more of a harassment than anything.
Sanya just looked at the zipline and says, yeah, I'll knock him off, but don't need to follow. And you agree. I mean, also, Ven chasing Shiv is a sad joke. Unless the Shiv's low HP and about to die to an Iradomini, one character has vastly more movement options than the other. Like, you're just not catching a shiv as I've been under normal circumstances.
It's been a slow game the last few minutes, EP, like very conservative from Abrahams. I feel like they are really sweating this one, and fair game to them, right? Like, this is tournament life on the line. You do not want to gamble this one away and you know, tilt everyone off the face of the earth by throwing away, like you said, a game that could be close to game over, right? Like one big fight, maybe around a mid-boss. That's the kind of engagement that you should really want as Abrahams, right? To play around Affliction, to play around Billy, some of these team fight combos we discussed. But playing things slow also means there's opportunities for Mo to find that crucial pickoff kill, take away one of those key members of the team, and maybe the fight isn't going to be so easy for Abrahams.
I mean, you've illustrated where the game is at. For Leviathan, you are hoping for the big proximity Mo pick to get a 6v5. You do not win a 6v6 as Leviathan. It is about impossible at this point, given the comp that you're up against, given the farm difference. You are not winning anything close to even. So if Abrahams, for example, on this urn, just gets together with the full 6 for the urn turn-in, if you're Leviathan, you really just cannot fight. Like, if you fight, what's going to happen is you are going to lose, and they're going to go mid.
6-man urn dunk.
Yeah. Abrahams, by the way, recognizes this. Like, they're all grouping up for the urn, and Leviathan, I mean, if they go to fight here, Jake, this could be game.
There's an absolute Thanos wave pushing down mid. Abraham's electing to completely ignore it. It's a risk, but it's one that could pay off. But they need to get this dunk in sooner rather than later. That mid wave is going to become a problem. Players stepping up now together. Calls the bluff. He's going to go for this dunk, or at least thinking about it, but Fremont maybe threatening. You can see just a little trepidation. Both teams navigating this one. The time advantage is there for Leviathan, and Ray Exet says, hey, I'm going to maybe step up. I'm going to maybe start this fight sooner rather than later. Urn gets dropped. Here he goes, trying to step up forward. Dazzling Trick protecting him for a moment. That Shining Wonder putting a lot of damage on. They do swap, but Celeste pretty powerful at getting away. Great chain gang pulls Mo in from snatching that urn away. Now the opportunity to turn. Together's already out of the fight. Leviathan, they're up 1 into this one. Abrahams, everything's falling apart. The Affliction has been deployed, but it doesn't seem to be enough. Leviathan, it's a 5-on-5 now, though. Net worth advantage. Iridomini comes out. Mo, though, evading these shots, kind of would be happy to tank them for his allies.
Shots are going off the other direction, but so far it's not the best Iridomini. It's not a high value Affliction. Nap time.
Sleep
coming in later into the fight. Is there going to be a catch here? The urn gets turned in the interchange.
Graves is cooking. Alert, Graves is cooking, ZP. Abrahams, they're low HP. The Graves sapping the damage. You're on the fallback. This is where Graves is strong. She hasn't been on this front foot in quite some time this game, but finally the opportunity. A deep swap under the walker. Massive catch, though, from Taz. The stomp clamps down on Sai. And maybe Leviathan have just done a little bit too much. The team fight turning against them. Graves fully trying to run away out of this one. Gonna pop the tomb to maybe cover the retreat, or no, he's gonna look to actually turn this one around, re-engaging. D-Mob has to teleport out of there, but this is a player advantage and a net worth lead, and yet Leviathan still think maybe they can force this one.
I mean, it's a little bit sloppy for Abrahams. You're able to catch Saint a little bit out of position. A lot of the ults were thrown away early on. I mean, you only have Lycan Curse still up and available. So I think if you're Leviathan, you kind of like the idea of burger boxing here a little bit more while you have things that are down. But you have to be looking at D-Mob here. D-Mob's about to get Affliction and could rip this wide open. D-Mob over the top, comes on in off the flying cloak. Frogs ready to go, looking for the right opportunity.
He doesn't see it, doesn't get the Affliction off. Maybe he's going to go in this time for it. Needs to find something big on the 3. Oh, that could be more than enough, ZP. They're starting to tick out. No heals available. Leviathan all on just slivers of HP. Who charging forward, looking to rip and tear. Cleaning up Leviathan. It started to look so good for them. Maybe this was the comeback fight. They managed to escape really well. I wonder, is Fremont going to tick out from this one? He's on almost no HP. But the lack of duration investment from Pocket means Fremont lives.
So, you got Rem on CD for 40 seconds. Same with overseas. You go mid here, especially because you think about ways to contest mid boss. For Leviathan, your best tool is nap time, and Rem himself is off taking a nap.
Yeah, it's a risk, but it feels like one that any other version of Abrahams wouldn't hesitate to take, and neither will this one. Still 2 players down. Leviathan, we've seen one insane Ritu snatch so far today, ZP. Is it almost too much to ask for another? Leviathan have to think about this one seriously, though. This could be the game. Already down 30k souls. Are you going to gamble for the retake contest? Seems like Shiv is going to go for it. Mo is there, too. They do grab one Ritu back. Is Graves going to be able to dominate in this pit? The Shining Wonder getting massive damage as well. There could be a fight to be had. Still one regen remaining for Leviathan. Maybe this is their time. OCs is down, but that's just the regen. Leviathan low on the rest of the team. Shiv, no second life into this one, doing what damage he can, but eventually Hoot will clean him up.
This is not the place you want to fight Silver. This is Silver's best area the entire game. The hallway of death. Hoot is feasting up and over. Somehow also Sanya got away from certain death at low HP enough to get over here to the Veil. Pops the Iradomini. Leviathan, I mean, is a valiant contest here so far. They've traded out more than expected. Getting down Dimov, huge for the long death timer, and they're getting a little bit more towards the end. The Lycan Curse is faded, and more getting caught towards the end as Graves
Real one.
3 HP after the Affliction.
ZP.
Yep.
No Kappa 1, and OC's maybe out of this one together. Needs to get the cleanup, needs to finish this fight.
But I don't know that they can take this Geist anymore. They've got the support behind them. Hoot does not have that ultimate up. Just a few more seconds. Oh, an awkward warp stone into the wall. Maybe Hoot looking to re-engage with the ulti together. Pulling a bit of the aggro, pulling a bit of the attention away. As the dust settles, though, that's a good fight for Leviathan. It's not the absolute comeback domination they were hoping for, but it keeps them in the game.
I think that's the exact point, is that it keeps them in the game. The problem is that the raw macro ends of this game and the actual draft disadvantage they're at now that we've gone late, none of that has got any better. Now, if you're able to get the urn turn in, it mitigates a little bit of it. And I think they will be able to get the comeback urn here. Like, you look at the positioning, I don't think Abrahams is going to be able to get there.
Gank mid. It's just a free urn. They're also maybe looking to grab an extra kill on top of it. Taz running away. Seems that Taz maybe has separated. Leviathan are brawling this, though, ZP, and this urn is going to get them quite back close to even. A little bit of jungle farm, and I think this Graves hero in the ultra late is terrifying. She didn't get there first, right? She wasn't leading and dominating the game the way we saw in game 1, but I do think this hero becomes more and more powerful in these ultra high net worth late games. I think you're one of the better like ricochet debuff heroes in the game, which for me is one of the more threatening carry styles.
Do you know what the objective is for OCs, though? Staying away from the rest of the team.
Do not get afflicted.
Well, yeah, I think that's a key thing, though. If you get afflicted, make Dimov commit for the solo affliction. If you're Dimov, you're looking for OCs +1. That is your ideal opening for affliction. You do need to get OCs in it, and I mean, the dream would be OC Shiv.
Oh, big swap deep.
Wait.
Taz. That's exactly the connection he was looking for. The metal skin doing so much work. Sai may be able to get out of this one. Gets a divine barrier and a bit of assist from the Rem. This guy is not taking damage. What the hell is this, ZP? You're also now into the bog with Graves. Sai eventually does go down. You need to find counter kills for Leviathan to make this all worth it. Demon would be exactly the prize you're hoping for, and you find him. Giving up the Mo is absolutely a worthy trade for that. Rem doing overtime in that fight, keeping it contested. Can you continue to chase for more, though? It looks difficult.
I mean, with Dimov out of the picture and no Iradomini, you can, well, I'd say you can, but the problem is you got to deal with Hoot. Hoot able to find one in the middle. Has Lycan Curse ready to go. And yeah, now maybe you want to get out of this fight. Nap time can be used a little bit more as an escape. Back or to middle. Graves versus Silver. Can you pop the Lycan Curse right now? Hoot, a little bit danger, but nope, the Wolf comes out. Now look at the rip and tear over into the Graves. Lower HP. A little bit of movement here from OCs, but it's not going to be enough. Finally, Hoot able to finish off. Looking for one more. 30 HP in the Dream. Taken out by Rayek at the end.
This one's going absolutely the distance now, ZP. Sanya, still healthy, would love to find some cleanup kills. On to Fremont, an ideal target. He's kind of caught, surrounded on all sides. The stun is going to be good. Enough for the finish by Taz. But when you look at the net worth, that's, I think, a winning fight for Leviathan. I think they recover a little bit of that net worth disadvantage. Great catch from Saint, though. And that's going to be enough to set up for the kill on Razumi. Almost certainly, yeah, caught dead to rights, though. Just not a hero that can really stand any kind of a fight in a 1v1, much less a 1v2.
Also, there's going to be a price extracted here, and that price is going to be mid-walker, by all accounts. Taking a look at where Abrahams is, and the fact that Leviathan just doesn't have anyone up to
and at this point, the walkers are just cosmetic, right? They just like don't offer any meaningful defense other than the resist, I guess, that the heroes have on them, which is pretty nice. But I don't know that you're going to be able to get any more of this economy-wise. Like a big wave crashing on the left, well done by Rayek. It provides a bit of work for Sanya and Dimov to do. A little bit of time to farm up the jungle. Overseas, getting back into the game from a farming perspective is also, I think, pretty crucial, right? It's pretty hard right now for Graves to really single-handedly do this, but Geist has felt the pressure to go into a cheat death. maybe this makes sense in terms of like Affliction also kind of hard countering Geist's ability. I'm not sure about this, but I believe your ulti is healing, right? So does Affliction mean your ulti does not heal you back up when you swap somebody? I think it might be the case. I'm not exactly sure though how this all functions.
Truthfully, even though I've been playing more Geist recently, I haven't had a Geist into a pocket in that specific scenario. I mean, it could go either way, would be my assumption, but something to test. You know, I'll test it in between the map break or series break, and then let people know. We won't be casting into NA, but either way, but we'll find out. Or
Dude,
people will just say in chat.
I just, like, everything, my brain is telling me that surely this is an Abraham's game. They have every advantage. Like, this is their time to go game 3. But I just, like, Leviathan is sticking into this one longer and longer. And with every fight that they either win or just draw, I kind of believe more and more that they'll find the way back into this. Maybe that's a misplaced hope. Siphon bullets picked up from Graves wants to kind of tank bust through some of these frontliners.
I do think you should get your room tested for Hopium, because I think Abraham's is going to have to throw pretty badly for this to end up against them. Okay, nap time.
Sleep.
Forced out early into Chain Gang, but okay, this could go against Leviathan. Chain Gang dropped. Senya sitting here in the back. Domini good to go, waiting for the fight to develop a little bit more. Leviathan actually losing a decent amount of HP before any Affliction has been dropped. Demov in over the top. Now Affliction ready to go. Now, Chain Gang's been used already, so getting that ult out actually not the worst for Leviathan. Abraham's wasn't really in the position to immediately dive in because of it running the urn at the same time. But also, if they go to dunk here in a second here, I don't know if Leviathan loves the contest.
I mean, with mid-boss up, I don't know that you can really go for the urn right now. Looks like they're recognizing that they want to just put some pressure down in the mid. Leviathan baiting, showing a bit of intention to take the mid-boss. Will they really commit for it? As a combo out from Psy. Is it going to be good enough? Affliction comes in. It's not onto the Graves. It's Graves' opportunity to get deep into the backline. Soaking up a ton of the damage now. The inhib onto everybody. He's cooking them all in deep into the backline. One down. A second soon to fall together. Demov running for the hills. He's down 2.
No way.
Overseas gets the cleanup and all for Psy's life. What a start from the Mo. The team follow up right behind him. And with mid-boss available, with urn to be dunked, with waves crashing on the Abraham's base, Leviathan could be right back in this one, ZP. Who can he do it again, man? Abrahams have an incredible test in this mid-boss. Oh my God, you're kidding me. You're kidding me. Do not.
Wait. You know, good thing Vindicta's dead right now, and there's no Domini. There's no line up the shot. Which, by the way, stop doing that in pub games. Like, that became like the meme tech, where I feel like if you do a day of pub, you're gonna run into at least 2 Vindictas.
If you do that, I'm insta unpausing on you on your DCs. There's absolutely you get absolutely 0 pause respect if you abuse pauses. You get a DC, good luck. I hope they get back in the next 30 seconds. I am spam unpausing you.
Like, we're gonna lose the ability to move camera during pause because of people doing that. Like, just okay. So
I can think better. They're not going to chase. They're going for this. They're sending it. How's going to test it? You don't have like a single stun. It's just Sanya with the shotgun.
You don't have swap up either. Even if you had multi-swap, which I don't know if Taz went into. That's not available. Hoot is in. Perry is there. Wait, Hoot has gotten 1 so far.
No way.
Silver's doing it.
No way.
Hoot gets 2. Down in numbers. Hoot somehow gets 2 Rejuvenator charges. Taz and Hoot both going to absorb those charges immediately. But even if you die here, getting those rejuves out is massive. And now, can Hoot deal the great escape after
Hoot is too good at this game.
thievery?
What the hell am I watching? I think he might get out, dude. That is illegal from Hoot. He steals 2 rejuves and gets out? This guy is one of the greatest to do it in Deadlock right now. Are you kidding me?
How do you not like? If you're a Leviathan fan, you're like, yeah, they did it. They're gonna get it, and then Hoot just cancels Christmas with that
insane
contest.
From Hoot. And hold on, wait, as they look for Irazumi, but the 1 rejuve may be enough, right? Like, everyone still has the 1 rejuve for Leviathan. You can give up 1 pick and still be into the fight. And so I still think this might be enough of an advantage, but it's far from the decisive blow that Leviathan would have wanted to inflict here in this series point game 2. Together, he's close, but I just don't think they're close enough. Yeah, contesting this dunk is too much too soon. Together, though, hold on. Shiv's on top of him. Yeah, Billy just has to run out of this one. Threat of the chase is very real. And Celeste has 10,000 souls. Leech up. This Graves is turning into a tank, man. She's starting to sense that level of threatening aggression that we've seen in game 1.
I mean, it's a powerful Lich Hand that just have 4,000 HP at this point in the game.
He's going for the cooldown too to go for like the mega tombstone macro threat. Big stack of creeps here, slamming in on this wave. Who can't chase? He would lose the walker if he did. Likes to just clear the creeps instead. Some more players coming in on the chase down, but I think Leviathan, giving this map state, they're going to be kind of happy to look for a fight. So I would love to find some kind of a combo to start this one off. Shining Wonder bouncing around.
Well, this is how the fight. With the no affliction, you want it? Okay, the combo in on the rake. Mo, though, getting the treatment in turn. The Paradox dropped the swap. All sorts of chaos here. Billy down and dirty in the midst of the fight. Last Rejuvenator is gone. And now we'll see together, and not really taking much in way of damage. Sandy was able to land some serious shots from Miro Domini into the back line. And Leviathan, even with the affliction off the table, it does not end up as a good fight.
Yeah, Abraham's cleaning up right now. Overseas and Psy on almost no HP. Fremont goes, hold on, he does find Hoot. Shiv is still healthy, but Graves bursted into the wall. Sonya evicts the Lich. Slowing Hex as well onto Fremont. Divine Barrier comes in. They're trying to peel him out of this one. Tons of support being poured in from Irizumi, but it's still so much to ask for. Fremont, the entire gang now running him down. Shiv, one of the better movement heroes in the game, but can he actually find the exit with Taz on top? Another wall bounce. Shotgun starts going the other way, taking them on kind of a wild goose chase here. If he can make it to the TP, he could be out of this one. What is this movement from Fremont?
I see Billy.
Let's go, yo.
Good lord. I mean, this is peak Shiv movement. He got back his +1 stamina, and he is just moving through the sewers like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle right now. And the swap doesn't hit. Good lord, Fremont, play the Benny Hill theme, finally gets caught, but that was not at all an easy chase down. Also, the penalty to the chase down, you're chasing Fremont, no one grabbed the urn. This could have been an easy urn dunk for Abrahams, and instead, it's going to be an urn hold for Leviathan.
Dude, both their shrines are down to half. Like, the creeps did work in that team fight. Like, the value of having these base guards down is these extended fights deep out on the map are very costly for Abrahams. Like, even though that fight looks about as good as you could hope, but it needs to be better, right? It needs to be even more than that. Here comes the combo, catching Taz. Some players not here. D-Mob's not into this fight. Even down some players, Leviathan recognizing they have the advantage in this spot, in this moment. But chasing, maybe just a bridge too far. Mo, not going to be able to find that kill. They're just going to be satisfied with just sending Taz packing, but it keeps them in urn control, which is going to be potentially difficult to contest considering what we said about the macro threat from Rem and Graves, right? Like, that's been really the one of the few keys to the strengths for Leviathan. And when it pays off, it could pay off big time. If you get shrines with those minions, like, the game is going to get really rocky for Abrahams if they even get one shrine down.
I think that's a great point, is that macro-wise, Abrahams, they're kind of out of mulligans on mess-ups. I still think Abrahams has by far the better team fight as, okay, Geist, potentially caught here, dangerous for Overseas, gets takes the swap towards the end, has to use the Geist swap in turn. So Soul Exchange used. Hoot, though, knows it is go time onto the Geist, although Life Drain still pretty scary, especially if Like and Curse not ready to go. Fremont looking for the dive now on to Silver. D-Mob in real danger, has to use E-Shift. He's gonna live here. This is turning into all sorts of chaos. Affliction is already used early into the fight. Leviathan, this may be the opportunity to make something happen. The combo, the D-Mob goes down.
I see the enemy.
Leviathan, waves crashing against Abrahams in the mid here. They're happy to take this fight, extend this one, looking to turn around and just burn, clear this backline off. Fremont still considering a chase down, but just thinking of being a little bit more cautious. This is a wise move from Leviathan. They have a bad wave on the left side of the map now too, one that they likely need to respond to keep their own base guardians alive. TP over from the Geist as she looks to maybe continue getting active on the mid lane. This one could continue into a burger box. Still more players committing into this fight. Leviathan +1 though, maybe this is their opportunity.
I think if you're Abrahams, you would love to get some form pick here before mid-boss comes up. Mid-boss is going to be up when D-Mob is still down. Chain gang out here with the Taylor's getting hit from all sides, though. A brutal spot for the other to be in right now. This is going to create enough of an opportunity for anyone else on your team. The Earth Mini was already popped. And now we look at Graves. Still looking pretty tanky, hiding behind the line. Billy was able to get away, but now you have a low HP Billy and Leviathan. With D-Mob down, do they go for mid-boss here? I don't know if it's quite right.
They're going to lose their shrine. There was an enormous wave from Abrahams crashing in their base. They will lose a shrine if they don't respond. Geist is going to grab it. And with Psy and Fremont both low, definitely playing. Oh my God. That is like 3,000 soul wave for Geist.
She just bought out the crippling, and she's now at like 4.5k souls. Big combo into the mid. Hoot, though, one of the hardest targets. Lycan Curse gonna heal him back up. Now Psy tethered and potentially in trouble, but Hoot not finding his hands onto any good targets just yet. Leviathan, do they want to stick around in this one? Demov, he does have that affliction. Are you going to continue forcing this? Overseas says yes. He continues to step up, put some pressure on. Affliction onto 4. It's huge. It's already down. Leviathan in a rough spot, but there's mid-boss to lose if you give up this fight. You almost have to continue this contest. Refresh up. He's looking for another affliction. This one, I don't think it gets anything. Leviathan, maybe more to play for in this fight. They're down 2. It's just up to OC's, Overseas, and Rayek holding this one down in the 3v5, but Demov has no HP. He can't really contest into this one. Graves' passive is now taking a lot of the damage away from the aerodrome. Huge parry from Graves, keeps her in the fight. And that's going to be enough to drop down Sonya. Graves standing tall against the world. The leech, the inhib, the siphon bullets. No one can challenge her.
Demov also gets caught towards the very end. What was looking like a surefire thing, the 4-man affliction. Things have gone terribly wrong for Abrahams on the end. However, it's not all roses here. Celeste getting run down by the Rising Ram with a little bit of the help from Saint at the end.
Osis is back. He's ready to immobilize. Is good. Finds a connection. Osis just versus the world. 2 of the strongest 1v1 heroes in the game. Who? You might have the Lycan Curse. Are you sure you can really take this fight? You're not dealing damage. You're not able to proc the Lycan Curse even. Can they find Hoot? This would be one of the most important kills of the game, but Hoot, the movement is too good, man. He's out of this one. And what a brawl. ZP, we're at 45 minutes. Most Deadlock games don't make it past 20 or 30. And we are going the distance. I don't even know if you can take a mid-boss here.
Maybe not, but also the fact that Leviathan is keeping this close with so much team fight advantage on Abrahams is unbelievable. I mean, look, maybe part of it is that Graves just is that character as you get later into the game, but a 4-man affliction and Abrahams could not put that away into a mid-boss situation. That is damning at this point, Jake.
Yeah, that's like the dream team fight. He has a second affliction, didn't get anyone, I'm pretty sure, on that second cast, so that one's really gonna bite him. Sonya also getting parried by OCs. I mean, even with how late this game is, it comes down to the absolute wire. Overseas, there's still 2 players down on the other side. He's gonna step up. Does get disarmed though.
6,000 HP on the Geist, by the way.
He's a monster tank. Holy crap. Here comes Hoot diving forward on the silver, but trying to chase down into the Graves is a little bit scary. Psy incredibly tanky on the Mo, threatening into the front line. Is he going to look for a combo? Yes. The answer is he's deep in onto the Hoot. But the rescue beam from Vindicta pulls him out of trouble. Leviathan, are you going to continue to fight this? Abraham's looking healthy. Hoot finds OCs. The Graves is down. It's one of your crucial damage dealers. Overseas also looking low. Leviathan maybe biting off more than they can chew, and Abraham's taking their chance at a clean fight.
This time around, Demov made sure to get the affliction on the OCs, got rid of the Graves early into the fight. Together, looking way tankier with no Graves in and around. Fremok on the edge of death, just barely able to get away. Now turning back the other end, and okay, Fremok not fully getting away that time. Went around the corner, still caught. And with 2 dead, Abrahams may finally be about to go to the mid-boss. Hoot still wants a little bit more. Geist in the sights. Walking forward now on the silver. No Lycan Curse, just gun. 3 seconds away for another slam fire. Overseas desperately trying to get away. 3, 2, boot kick, slam fire, cheat death procced. Just need a little bit more onto the Geist, into the punch. Parry dead. Here comes Abrahams with 4 players dead. Surely, Jake, they're able to get mid-boss and start to put this one away.
Yeah, finally, right? It gives them that big team fight they were hoping for. Psy cleaning up some of the creeps here. They were thinking maybe about going for some base pressure there, but yeah, mid-boss has to be the call here. So crucial at this phase of the game. And for Leviathan, we see the difference with and without the Graves, right? When they go deep into these low numbers fights, the Graves is absolutely crushing. Feels like she cannot be stopped. But if she gets afflicted and just deleted out of the game early enough, we see a radically different team fight. So Demov has absolutely found his target. This one's going to be scary for OCs. Really is going to need the Divine Barriers in this fight. I mean, he might even need to buy his own Divine Barrier. Like, we're that deep in the game.
Abrahams now with 3 rejuves. Or by the way, nearly 50 minutes in the game, there's still a walker up. We didn't really talk about that, but you desperately need the slot when you're as rich as Abrahams has been. This slot actually going to be huge for their overall power level.
I think wisely, Leviathan not committing to the contest. They're going to throw down a tomb just to, you know, put up some distraction and maybe send a wave crashing back the other way. The one advantage Leviathan have is the base guards. If they could just get 1 shrine, I think it would really change the game in their favor. But it feels far away right now. I mean, your ability to even take a fight is pretty suspect with the double affliction from Demov.
with the triple rejuve. It's like, what even can you do here other than yield a pretty massive net worth advantage? Everyone's thinking about like, what do I want to buy? Like no one's build even covers this point in the game. 11,000 souls on that urn, by the way. Insane value.
We're going the values never before seen. I think the key for Abrahams, what a difference in that last team fight, Jake, where we called out earlier in the game, affliction on to Graves versus no affliction on the Graves. OCs was able to focus fire to take it down early, and the difference in overall tempo of the team fight could not have been more stark. If you're DMOV, you are reserving your frogs for OCs, at least the first batch. Maybe you refresh her onto the rest of the team after. But a solo affliction on the Graves, I think, is actually worth it when both teams are committed to a full team fight.
Yeah, I mean, you have two divine barriers, right? So there are options. You can't just like free send it. Looks like I think a curse was attempted there from overseas, but DMOV maybe dodging that one, getting out. Trying to siege the base is pretty risky, though. It's a massive affliction, but will it cost them a couple of rejuves? Leviathan, Sai, slivers of HP on this mode, needs to live. DMOV, cheat death proc. Sai is going to go down in the exchange. It costs one rejuve already. Will it cost more? But that's OC's out of the fight, too. No, oh, that could be the beginning of the end. Abrahams, 80 seconds to work with the player advantage. Still 2 more rejuves on the deck. Fremont down 2. And at this level of farm, I mean, the base drops quick. A swap forced out of overseas. Rescue beam from Vindicta also pulls him out of trouble.
How to Tame Your Wolf, Geist Edition, where Silver goes in, gets swapped, immediately says nope, runs out. DMOV was at Death's Door for a while, loses the rejuve, but you know, downside there is that DMOV's back to full HP, Affliction locked and ready to go. 3 dead for Leviathan, final shrine gone. Patron about to get dropped, and with 1 rejuve remaining, I think if you're Abrahams here, Jake, you stay the course.
I don't even think Leviathan are going to be up for this. Yeah, 30 seconds on Fremont, 20 on OCs, and Affliction goes in. But Abrahams want to just end things here and now, bring that DPS onto the base. DMOV has already used that rejuve, is super low, but just barely gets the cape teleport out. Now fighting onto the throne, who still powerful, but doesn't have that Lycan curse up quite just yet. But Leviathan just dropping under the sheer weight of Abrahams as they turn to focus the Patron. The spawn's coming in for Leviathan, but it's just too little, too late, and Abrahams seal the deal. Map 2 forces a game 3. Unbelievable endurance from these teams, and we have a lot to play for left in Europe.
A 50-minute game where, you know, if you weren't a conspiracy theorist, you could just say, yeah, this is for Saya, where there was the wonder of like, will NA start before Saya gets home? After a game like this and to go in the 3, I think the answer is going to be yes. Because
if you were trying to stall the show, that is, you cannot do better. Well done, Abraham.
Yep. Oh, man, oh man. So, in the end, this went the distance, but I have to say, the Leviathan team comp was more competitive than expected. For this going turbo late game where Abrahams was working with every advantage in the world, Leviathan was still finding ways of making things relatively, competitive and getting pickoffs and getting into situations that were genuinely losable for Abrahams, even with the comp. So, I mean, it just mixed together for one of the best games I think we've casted.
Yeah. Absolutely ridiculous day so far in Europe, and we expect to have even more fireworks potentially in North America with, the former Hydration, now FPS Lounge to make their debut, and still 1-1. Abrahams looking to retake their throne here at the top of EU. Ridiculous game from Hoot. I mean, like, truly absurd game from Hoot. Like, think about that one rejuve. He snatched 2 of the crystals and got out in like an unfightable scenario for Abrahams. Like, that pretty much keeps them into the game to get to this point, to make the comeback in the late game. DMOV with huge afflictions. But like you said, Leviathan, incredible fighting potential, even when the draft looked really rough for them as they got towards that late game double affliction, kind of a setup. And yet somehow, some way, they fight their way back into it.
Also, I just got a DM from Saya saying I'm good to play now. So Operation Stall successful. But this play right here, where Hoot was able to steal 2 rejuves, that very well may have saved the game for Abrahams, because I think without the rejuve steal coming on in here, the odds are pretty high that Leviathan actually ends up with a 20k lead. And a 20k lead when you're running a Graves comp, we saw what happened in map 1 when you give up that level of difference. So,
dude, Fremont's Great Escape is actually a legend. This game, like this ring around the rosy he's pulling on them is insane. It like keeps them alive. Like, so many individual players had to make these hero plays
to keep the game in contest, to go this deep. I mean, this was honestly, this might have been one of our longest games ever on the night shift.
I mean, today has been a cinema day, especially think about how map 1, or rather how the challenger match went down with the greatest rejuve contest we've seen maybe ever. This has been a day, and it's Tuesday, as it were.
Yeah, man, just another Wednesday night in the night shift. This affliction was tragic. Dude, if he hits this affliction on like Graves, like honestly, they probably just win right there. But finally, in the end, the triple clean rejuve this deep into the game, it's just too much, right? But even this final fight, if Graves lives here, like if she didn't get afflicted, or if she got a DB and was able to reset, this patron fight could have been a lot scarier.
Whew. Give us some stats here, and oh my word,
99, dude, he almost hit 100K. I've never seen 100K, non-competitive, 99K damage. What in the hell?
I mean, the damage numbers in general were pretty juiced across the board. I mean, Demov at 94,000. I mean, expect Pocket with multiple big afflictions to be up there. 80K on the Venator. Dear God. I think the main thing is that you don't see a comp match at this level usually go to 50 minutes, period. This was an incredibly long game, but for all the right reasons.
Yeah, wow. Props to Abrahams, right? I mean, they've had 2 close competitive games. I mean, today, right? And after how game 1 went, I wouldn't have blamed him really for struggling in a game this deep, this endurance focused. The fact that they still get the win is massive. That being said, Leviathan, 60 kills to 36. They stuck in this game way longer than they had any right to. And I wonder if Abrahams aren't going to be feeling a little bit stressed about how hard it was to close that one out, despite how powerful their team fight was in the late game. For Leviathan, maybe the draft adaptations will be enough, whereas we go to game 3, man, it's anybody's game to win. It rounds to 100K, guys. It rounds to 100K. Still counts.
Well, when did production get a blinking graphic that they could do here? Like, that's my question as I'm looking at this. Like, what in the world? Okay, actually,
it's beautiful.
Oh, okay. You know what? As I feel under the spotlight, Jake, 1-1, Abrahams versus Leviathan. This one is going the distance. We got to take a break, get some snacks, get some food, come back for map 3. The money match concludes right after this. EU not quite done yet here on Night Shift 31. ZP here with Jake, and Jake, one of the longest games we've ever had, back and forth to the very end. Abrahams, though, able to stay alive and force a map 3 as they want to retake their throne here today. But Leviathan proving that it is going to be hard fought no matter what.
Yeah, this one is pushing me to my absolute casting limit, man. Like 50-minute Deadlock at this level of play is a beast, man. It is a beast of a game to follow and to cast. But honestly, what a treat. It's great to see Abrahams really brawling for this one. I can't help but feel that Leviathan, I'd still call them the favorite in game 3. Like, I feel like that one was so close because Leviathan had incredible execution to stay alive that late in the game, and only through sheer force of will did Abrahams get it over in the end. But ultimately, I think a lot rides on this draft. I think both teams are probably sweating this one very hard. If you come out of this with an edge, that could be more than enough to take the series. And Leviathan, they've only been champion for a few weeks. They do not want to give it up just yet.
No, and what I'm curious draft-wise, it's been Abrahams has been picking first pick, first ban. I wonder if Leviathan is going to take the first pick, first ban away because, of course, it's the first time that's going to be their choice for the final map. And we'll see. I mean, draft strategy-wise, it's kind of interesting is that I don't think Abrahams wants to play Graves. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but they don't strike me as a team where they have someone that actually wants to play the hero. So the idea of picking the hero to deny it, I actually don't think is in their wheelhouse. But I also think because of the general power level of heroes on the top end, I don't know if you want to extend a first ban on the Graves. So you're kind of in this weird situation where you don't want to first ban Graves, but Leviathan feels comfortable last picking Graves before the mid-stage bans. So Abrahams, in effect, has no way to deny the Graves pick. That's been causing them trouble, but it's also absolutely wild because going into the day, we thought the storyline would be, don't let OCs play Mina, and that has not been the case at all today.
Yeah, they pulled this Graves out of nowhere. I doubt Abraham saw this one coming or expected it. It feels like something that has thrown them for a loop. I do think the pocket was a great response in game 2, and I think that's something that Leviathan has to be very mindful of in the draft. Like, another factor is the silver, right? For Hoot. I mean, he's been getting the silver, and he looks insane on this character. Like we were talking during the break, it plays so well in his strength as a movement player. And some of the rejuve steals he pulled off in this last game were just downright unbelievable, right? You just not something you ever see coming against you. And I mean, Abrahams do look like maybe the best team in the world at like contesting those rejuves in difficult spots.
Also, as we're filling for time here, waiting for the next draft to go underway, because believe it or not, the players demanded a little bit of a break after a 50-minute match. How dare they?
Back to your PC. Start playing.
Is that whip I just heard? But yeah, the interesting thing today, the character that is in full ban jail, that's right, it's Mirage, where, of course, Mirage got the biggest round of buffs over the last mini patch, or, you know, a mini patch by Deadlock standards. And as a result, yet to see Mirage all day long for those looking to snipe the fresh hot Mirage builds, but you know, maybe we'll get one in the final game or as NA rolls around. But you know, the interesting thing to me here, Jake, also the higher priority on the Kelvin. Now, part of this is just because Abrahams loves playing Kelvin, but I think even going to NA, I mean, Kelvin is kind of up there, not only because he himself got buffed, but because of his synergy with Silver and ability to stymie Silver at the same time, and her importance in the meta at the moment.
Yeah, I definitely think Silver and Celeste are going to be some really hotly contested picks. I think the dynamic between the Kelvin and the Pocket is another one you really got to keep your eyes on in terms of like really powerful healing and team fight zoning versus the ability to turn that healing off like a light switch. So Abrahams, once again, are going to get the opportunity to have first pick. So Leviathan prefers the second. They think I agree, though, in the sense that they can make the draft adjustments here. I feel like they made some mistakes in the last draft, like letting the Pocket through was rough. Abrahams, they're going to ban the Kelvin again, and so far, I mean, I would be shocked if they do anything except take the silver first. Leviathan, will they let a Mirage through to block the silver? That also feels scary, considering he's a bit of an unknown. Like, if Mirage is that broken, do you just auto win if you get him?
Apologies, I'm spoken for today.
Well, that may be the case, because I was expecting maybe the silver ban, get the Mirage in there, force Hoot onto something else, but instead, Abrahams, you won with this draft last time around. You're probably going to first pick the silver. Let's hear the awoo, Jake. Not from you specifically, but yeah.
No, this has to be the awoo pick. I mean, there's you'd be crazy not to, the way Hoot has been playing today. Like, give him the silver. Like, just, you know, don't think too hard about it. It's straightforwardly super strong. For Leviathan, where do they prio things? I mean, the Geist was a little bit of an unsung hero last game, was like doing a lot of frontlining for Graves. Maybe they'll still prio her pretty high. Graves is another factor.
Okay,
we're 2 of 2 picking
here's what
Graves
they
in the
change.
series. Okay.
I think you go Billy. I think that last game, if you have Billy instead of the Geist, you feel way better. I don't think the Abrahams comp does nearly as much with the Geist. Billy was the heart and soul of a lot of the theoretical combos that they had. I think you go Billy here, and nope, they say screw it, we go Geist. So
I like your read, ZP. I would agree with you, actually. I think the Billy could have been a better pick here because, like you said, those combo threats. Another way to look at it, though, is you give up the Billy, but maybe you deal with some of the more threatening combos. I think especially Pocket, right? I think the other way to think about it is without the Affliction, those burst kills onto Geist and Graves wouldn't have been possible last game.
All right, so the Billy's going to come on through. For Leviathan, you have to imagine their final pick is going to be Graves because they want to be banned out. But you know, so far it has been a complete run back, Jake, of the last draft that we saw. We'll see if Abrahams, do they go for Graves of this? Oh, they do!
Oh my!
Okay.
They're cooking. They're cooking in the lab. Graves is on top, baby. Graves is meta. I feel like we have to say that now. This is 3 of 3, the best teams in Europe, at least in EU. Graves is a meta hero. I love to see it. Now Leviathan, what's their response? They snagged the Mina for themselves, which, in fairness, they haven't pulled out all series, but we know this is an absolute weapon in the hands of OCs, and I think this is a very good matchup for Mina. I think Graves is actually pretty bad against Mina since, you know, like she just kind of evades you, plays out of your range, and it's just super difficult to actually stay on top.
No, okay, the ban Ven. That also makes sense. I mean, they could have picked the Ven themselves, but yeah, I mean, that's the price of going Graves here, is that you've given up the ability to go Ven. But I think in this case, they feel like they can play the Graves and they just want to deny it, which, by the way, surprised me. I thought for sure they would still like go Ven. It's not the case. Apollo gets taken on the mid-stage bans from Abrahams, and okay, you know, I guess the question is, are they going to run Graves as basically their M1? Do they get something else to compensate?
Yeah, and I wonder if there's ever consideration of something like the pocket now for Leviathan. They go with the Rem. Maybe they just don't want to give up the Rem plus Graves like macro Giga Pressure combo. I think the sleep can also be nice. Graves usually doesn't build counter spells and mobility tools to help get away from that. So could kind of set you up for some good initiations, good starts to the fight.
Smart to turn to Paradox.
Okay, so Paradox comes in, and Abrams, by the way, has picked Paradox at this position in the draft every single map today. like clockwork, you're going to get Taz on the Paradox. I do think, though, Pocket would be reasonable here because there's a chance Leviathan could steal it.
My bow is yours.
But instead they go GT. GT was banned in the mid-stage bans last time around, and I mean, look, you think of what Hoot did earlier today. Although the interesting thing is, it can't be Hoot on the GT in this case. It's gonna be Hoot on the silver. It's gonna be D-Mob on GT.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe it's someone else in the silver because Hoot and Great Talent is like that is a wombo combo. You know, like those. It feels like I don't know. Have we seen D-Mob play the GT at least in months?
Well,
Okay,
it'd be further back, but we stop and think about the conversation we had off stream. Part of why Hoot on silver works so well is that Hoot is arguably the best movement in the game, and putting the best movement in the game on someone that, you know, takes advantage of positioning like silver is really strong. I don't think you want anyone else but Hoot on the silver. I mean, in theory, you could put a D-Mob on the silver. I mean, at times I think we've even seen Together on it, though Together is certainly going to be playing Billy.
I think it's like an Ivy last pick here. Go Page, okay. It's interesting to see the support go that deep in the draft. Page has not been played today, right? Which a little surprising. I guess Calvin is looking really good these days, but honestly, Page was prioritized over Rem for quite some time recently. And so curious to see how Abraham's handled the draft they have here. They've got a decent front line. I think they're a little bit light on setup control for Page, but maybe the Paradox is going to be enough for that. For Leviathan, I feel like this could be a big Mina game. Like usually when you lack hard stuns and control, Mina can get a lot done, although maybe Silver's Bola and Burst is just enough.
Hear me out on combos here, Jake. Chain Gang, Captivating Reed, Graves with late game split shot Ricochet. Group them up all together, and Graves is having a really good time.
Even like Chain Gang pulling people into that wall of the grasping hands could be kind of a sick lockdown, right? Like or swapping somebody over it. It's kind of a unique way for some of these like forced movement tools to set you up for a hard lockdown. Still, I think those are ambitious setups for catching characters like Shiv and Mina. And we saw last game what Fremont can do with the Shiv movement. The guy is on another level right now in terms of his ability to like bait you and escape you. So Great Talent absolutely on notice this game. There's going to be a lot of pressure from these high mobility characters. Also, Sinclair, playing the Graves matchup into Sinclair is like deceptively difficult sometimes when he just keeps stealing the tomb away from you, and he's like pressuring you even harder than you can with the macro tombstones.
Also, speaking of early game, Leviathan's laning phase scares the crap out of me. I mean, that is a deadly laning phase. I mean, Sinclair alone kind of can make a lane untenable. Rem's early laning is horrific to play against. Like, Rem's not very good. Shiv, I mean, Shiv is kind of interesting where I think people sometimes misplay against knives, where it's like you take a knife, get out of line of sight. Like, don't take two knives. But Shiv can still be snowballing in lane. Like, I don't know. I look overall at Leviathan, and they have a lot of ways to, I think, get pretty far ahead by the 15-minute mark. Like, Abraham's comes online a little bit later, especially when we consider, like, Graves in particular in these last few games. It's not Graves taking over the game early. It's Graves coming online as you get deeper into the game. So I think Leviathan, tempo-wise, actually goes into this with a pretty reasonable edge.
Yeah, I think a lot rides in the lanes. I mean, it's so interesting because in NA, I've come to expect that like no one's going to have a big advantage coming off the lanes. Like people are just playing super stable, consistent Deadlock. But EU has become the region where there's a lot more willingness to gank, rotate, find kills early. Still, despite all that chaos, it feels like in all the games today, the teams have still come out even. They've just sort of traded much more aggressively, and yet the end result is sort of the same. That being said, there's so much pressure now in a game 3. Players are starting to get tired. Players are starting to get taxed. More room for mistakes, more room for over-aggression and overextension, and for things to spiral out of control. So this one is going to really test players in a way that maybe they haven't really been tested so much in Deadlock before.
Man, oh man. Well, Jake, it all comes down to this: a final map 3 between Abrahams and Leviathan. And all in all, talk about the difference of a few weeks here in EU, where at one point it felt like clockwork, where Abrahams was just winning on autopilot, doing things like Melee 7. We're not seeing a Melee 7 here today, Jake, believe it or not.
D-Mob on the ult 7 build is actually the craziest, like, pride cometh before the fall moment of all time. But can he do it again? I mean, all would be forgiven, right? I think if Abrahams can reclaim the top, and to do it by snatching the Graves away, it's a little bit wild and wacky, and I think they may have overcooked just a bit. But this is Abrahams we're talking about. There's always the chance, as they've shown, even when, you know, the player advantages against them, the rejuves are dropping, you'd almost always want to bet in Abrahams in those circumstances. In winning one map, they do lock up half that bonus pool, but honestly, Abrahams, they're not playing for that little bonus cash. They're playing for the whole thing. They're playing for that entire prize pool. And to win and to be on top in EU, I think that might even be more important for a team this storied than, you know, a week-to-week prize pool.
Yeah, you kind of hit the point I was going to say, is that also it's kind of a matter of pride. When you are the de facto #1 team in EU, arguably #1 team in the world, and you have that aura about it, and then you lose 3 weeks in a row, particularly with last week where they lost the challenger match. I mean, that's an ego check and then some, where for Abrahams, it was probably a tense week. As anyone who's been on a high-level team can attest, tensions get a little bit high when you go from winning everything to, guys, we're not winning anymore. Like, you start really looking closely at, can this player do better? Are roster changes in store? Thankfully, Abrahams kept the same roster together, and we'll see where this one goes. But
the trend line is everything.
So yeah.
Right. Like if it's one thing to be like Leviathan, who's been struggling, and then eventually you get that win. It means the world to you. For Abrahams, like, for them to not get the win feels terrible. You know what I mean? It's not like they're struggling now. It's like they built that expectation of not just winning, but winning 2-0, making it look easy, kind of being able to do crazy stuff, and still just being so much better. But in the shadows, Leviathan was grinding, and now they've maybe risen to the top. That being said, Abrahams, I'm glad that they're back in the money match. It felt wrong having them go out in the challenger match last week. Like, it just felt like too big of a fall from grace. And Abrahams, they've kind of righted the ship, at least so it would seem. But like you said, ZP, the pride is real, and for them now, like, even if you lose here, will it really be enough for the Abrahams players to say, oh, we played them really close, guys, we played a great series, which they did, and which they have done for sure. But when you win that many times in a row, it feels like nothing less than a championship is going to be considered acceptable or good enough.
I think the one thing that worries me a little bit about Abrahams, though, going into this match is the part of playing Graves. Do I think Graves necessarily complicated the play? No. Do I think that Abrahams also came into this day planning on playing Graves? Also, no. I think this was a straight up, they picked the Graves to deny it from OCs, and they're kind of winging it a little bit. And generally speaking, in esports history, when you pick something because the other side is doing well with it, but you didn't have a lot of practice on it going in, it doesn't have a great track record. Like, that usually is a losing play. So I think there's a real danger here that Abrahams gets out-tempoed, and whoever is on Graves, most likely Sanya, never actually gets into a good enough groove to get good farm, to getting ahead of the game. And even if you do get some of that farm, I don't know if the execution is 100% going to be there relative to if this was something that Abrahams was playing and practicing with. So I don't expect the Graves to be as impactful for Abrahams, and that could be a real issue in this game, especially if Leviathan is able to kind of manage their early mid-game tempo in a way that gets them an edge. So I'm a little bit worried for Abrahams here, to be honest.
Yeah, the players right now, they're getting ready. We got a couple players, getting a well-deserved bathroom break after that incredible slugfest of a game 2. But I think you're right to call that out. I think as much as Graves is like simpler to play, it's the team execution around it, the sort of style that you want to play that could be harder. Also, sort of some questions of, the Graves plus Rem combo looked pretty insane in terms of its ability to macro and threaten some of those side walkers to like crash on some Guardians even relatively early in the game. But for Abrahams, you're denied at least the second half of that. So it'll just be the Graves. The global pressure is not as obvious with this comp overall, I think, like compared to how Leviathan, Celeste and Shiv are able to kind of like jump in on those ganks and like disrupt somebody who's trying to kill the Graves. Maybe the GT can replicate that role to some extent for Abrahams, punishing some of these deep dives in, but Paige is for sure going to have her work cut out for her. We saw how the focus fire from Abrahams on Graves last game was very scary to deal with in the late game. Like, yes, she was a huge threat, but then in a couple fights, she just gets insta popped by like tons of ults all going in on her at the same time. And so for Paige, like hitting those saves is going to be crucial.
Also, I think big question marks here is we are finally getting into the game where, you know, understandable. We had to give the players a little bit of a break. It was a long game. But also, I think the Sinclair play for Leviathan is going to be really of note, particularly the early lanes where are we going to see swaps? The number one thing you want to see if you're the team playing Sinclair is you want the mirror against Graves, or well, it's not really true mirror, but you want the matchup against Graves, particularly for when you get ults online. So
yeah,
prepare for some lane swap shenanigans.
Who do you think is going to be on the Sinclair for Leviathan? Is this like a pick hero Sinclair? I guess. Is this like a Psy Sinclair?
I think so. Sai was playing Sinclair in the past, so
he's been one of my most impressive players in EU in this recent resurgence for Leviathan. And I like that he's on the Sinclair. I feel like you can make a lot of like crazy, you know, creative plays on this character and put him in the mid lane, give him an opportunity. He's going up, and you were right. It's going to be D-Mob on the GT. He's going to go up against him in the mid lane. So a lot, I think, relies on this mid lane laning pressure. If you're able to find some kills, if you're able to get that opportunity to rotate, it can be huge, especially considering you're also putting your hard carry and OCs into the mid lane. So a lot is gambled on your ability to actually win there and create opportunities to farm.
I think D-Mob is actually the most important player for Abrahams in the early to mid game, where by the composition, they're definitely at a tempo disadvantage unless every bird is brilliant from D-Mob. Like, there is a world where Great Talent kind of bends the rules of the game, just like some of the weird color artifacting there. Just merely talking about his power does this, Jake. But once ult comes online, I mean, there's nothing more disruptive to the flow of gameplay in your lane, like a bird, but also might have some lane swapping going on here as Paradox and Silver doing a bit of a swap into another.
I like the Silver. Maybe Silver wants to lane against Mina because Mina's health pool, right? She's pretty vulnerable to just some of the burst that Silver can throw down in the lane. And that's a little bit of a scary lane, right? You get bullied by Hoot and then D-Mouse following up with some power shots. Find yourself in a tough spot. Check out this portrait, man. Freaking Goku over there.
Yeah, I mean, on fire. And then
Goku in his goth era.
Okay, by the way, we have not pumped it as much here today because I'm running Sans host, but if you want to donate to the prize pool for what has been an enormous day of Deadlock so far that we're not even halfway through, ! Donate. We'll catch up on some of the donation messages before going the break, and yeah, just rewarding the players for what has been a brilliant day of Deadlock here so far. And, you know, it wouldn't be EU Deadlock without a little bit of boss luck in game 3 here, Jake.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting to not have Paradox in the mid lane. I mean, I think we really commonly do see this character in mid. He goes for an early regen, just focused on sustaining the lane and trading. Definitely a lot of pressure on Sonya Sniper. I mean, I feel like the Graves is, well, to be saying that's not what he's known for. I never played it, to my knowledge, in Night Shift. So like you said, right, that choice to go for a denial pick, see if that actually pays off or gets punished.
The thing in Deadlock is that every character has so many tricks and like character-specific tech that no matter how good you are, I feel like swapping this on short notice, if it's not in your wheelhouse, you're probably not going to play it optimally. Like, it's not impossible. It just, I think it's a bit unlikely.
Yeah, I also think, in theory, this should be kind of a hard lane for Graves because she's pretty terrible at clearing minions in general, at least in the very early game. And, you know, Rem sends the super minions at you from the very beginning. So if this is a spot where even if Geist just gets the free reign to solo farm while Rem is jungling and you can't punish it early, then already that's kind of a nice opener, really, for Leviathan in terms of the way they want this game to go. And Rem, usually at 2 minutes, is pretty happy to leave the lane and go box jungle pretty hard.
Of course, speaking of traditional lane setups, Paige, Billy, ever since they're both added into the game, these two have been together, I think more so than any other Billy lane, now that I think of that, because there was a long period of time where if these two heroes were drafted on the same team, you would just generally see Paige, Billy as a lane, because Paige generally works best as a laner with heroes that want to dive, and it doesn't get too much more divier than Billy in the laning phase.
They're kind of struggling so far in the lane, though, ZP. I mean, they bought double healing right, which isn't usually what you want to buy this early. I mean, you're sort of forced into it when you're low and you just stay in the lane, but it's items that, you know, you could be damaged. And if Fremont is able to buy like that extra investment into the spirit damage, it's going to be all the merrier. And typically you're not able to keep up with heals in this game with outgoing damage. It's always better to be on the front foot. So see how this lane ends up going for them. Maybe that double heal right is just going to be enough sustain to keep them farming, which I'm sure is going to be Together's goal, considering how important the team fights are.
Healing right, you know, the order in which you pick it, the first item healing right, generally not a sign of strength. But Rem, right now, through the tunnels. Right now, off in his own little world.
Yeah, he's doing his own thing here for sure. And Geist is soloing like the side lane. And Graves before Tomb, I don't know what you can really do about that. Bit of a contest on the box run. Silver still healthy, wants to find the chance to gank Mina. Nice Sanguine though, evades the Bola. Saw that one coming a mile away, and OC is just backing out, just denies the trade from Silver.
I see Mina.
For as action-packed, well, hang on, just I say that, a little bit more action here in the middle, but I was gonna say as action-packed as the previous games were, this one off to a slower start. Bit of a dive here onto the tower, Billy looking for the punch, but there's just not the health to go in.
Daggers.
Poke
This
from,
could be killed.
yeah, that's too many daggers. Yeah, that is a dead Billy. The poke just too much to deal with in this lane. Even with the backup of Paige, there is a limit.
All right, their spirit damage is disgusting in this lane. Like Shiv with full knives plus Celeste. Like these heroes are insane movement heroes at hard diving you. And usually Paige Billy wants to kind of poke and prod, put some pressure on with the shields, you know, put you on the back foot. I don't think that's realistic at all into Shiv Billy. Speaking of getting bullied out, I mean, on the rune pickup, already contesting is Irizumi. The sleep coming in, so difficult, man. A massive pressure onto Hoot. Understandably, he would try to get this, but a full heavy connection from Sai is good enough. Has the ultimate, is going to steal away the swap. Pulls Paradox back down to earth. Rabbit Hex not quite connecting, though. And the power shot from Hoot assists the cleanup on to Sai.
Leviathan off to mild lead here so far, kind of as expected. I mean, we were talking a little bit about the lanes going into the game, and Leviathan is definitely running with the stronger comp in the early mid. But I'm curious to see D-Mob's contribution. First Owl was already out, and you know, as is the case with any good GT nowadays, you have to expect that every single time you look at the top middle that Bird is up, Bird is going to one of the side lanes most of the time.
Over the top here with the Mina.
It's big.
They're instantly dead, man. Like, you almost didn't even need it there. Like, talk about a gank squad. Like, no control, but the damage alone. Shiv, Celeste, Mina, that is ridiculous. Like, you just don't have the souls to be able to have spirit resist in this kind of a game. And ZP, this one's getting scary. We're talking a 6k soul lead at 6 minutes. That is terrifying. Big swap from overseas keeps him in the fight. Rem is down to Hoot, and you have the swap as well. Bird coming in should be able to clean up the guy. She's super low, and you do get the execute as well. So D-Mob getting some of that scaling souls, and Hoot finds a tower. It's going to restore a lot of this advantage, but a stolen tomb is going to maybe be costly. Sai happy here to take the trades, and Hoot just going to give everything to clean up this tower.
Asian Easy at the $100 donation into the prize pool as Hoot bites it from Irizumi. Things starting to heat up after a period of relative calm that we were dealing with. Leviathan, more than content to take 3 over here onto another Guardian, gonna extend the lead even more so, but more importantly, give a little bit of extra map control. The big glue here that we've seen so far, though, Jake, has been D-Mov with the Owls. About to get another power shot into OC's. Quick burst damage into the middle, 5 seconds away from another Bird, and I don't think there's gonna be too much of a delay here. Rotation from Leviathan into middle. We'll see if it's enough to prevent mid from going down. Up into the air we go here for D-Mob. Back, and might get a taste of his own medicine. It's a clone Bird into nap time. Not like this. The Bird has changed teams. Boom goes the dynamite as D-Mob goes down to a cloned Bird.
That's tragic. It's actually such a good steal if you can get close to GT, because GT just doesn't have the tankiness to tolerate a Bird. Saint also trying to just back off out of this one. It's a big rotation for Leviathan. They bring a ton of players to get this one done. Hoot with the transform. It's a life buff Shiv, but it's not going to be enough, and the counter Bird from D-Mob is back into this. Hoot profiting really well in this early game, has already found quite a few rotation kills. Can he get more? Would love to find a finish onto Rem, but The life drain from Geist maybe just a little bit too much. If you're able to punish Hoot, that would be huge. Wait, stepping back up into this. Hoot, full confidence here.
It's just 8 minutes into the game. Sinners have spawned. See if anyone actually goes for Sinner's Steal here. For now, people mostly behaving on their sides of the map. Oh, as I say that.
See page.
Celeste off for a little bit of a nibble on the enemy Sinners. Hoot, though, well, we got a different wolf this time and have the Sinclair. Not going to be super effective later in the game, but no, this early,
it's really nice. It's such a powerful like survival tool. This phase of the game. I mean, you're not going to have the items to sustain it, but hold on. Maybe he stuck around a little bit too long. Hoot already has some big damage coming in. Caught by the Rabbit Hex is Taz, but the bird coming in. Oh, great evasion from Sai. Slips the net, and Leviathan bringing more into this one. Still, Hoot is going to find his man.
Yeah, I mean, forced a spectral assisted swap, but really good reactions into the bird. Celeste, though, may have overstayed her welcome. The swap, though, misses. Just a little bit off, ends up clipping the pillar.
The survival end up being meaningful from Sai, though. They get the kill on Hoot, I think, because he lives those few seconds longer.
Yeah. 40 seconds till next round of buffs and first earn. Leviathan on a bit of a lead. Again, kind of expected from the composition they're running, but for Abrahams, the fact that they were able to bring it back closer, not get completely blown out, which is what it was looking like very briefly. Reasonable job from them.
Mid prio is so important right now, right? With urns and urn and buff spawning in just a few seconds. Abraham's going to commit a lot here. They want to be able to snatch down this tower. Tombstone pressing zombies forward. Taz senses maybe they've gone a little bit too far. There's a deep Celeste into the backline. Rayek in trouble. Are the saves going to be good enough? The Rabbit Hex, don't see the connection there yet. Taz is already down, and Irizumi bouncing around, supporting this one with the tag along. 2 kills to nothing here for Leviathan, and they hold on to the mid Guardian to boot.
Yeah, also another case of the swap just barely missing. Uncharacteristic from Taz to miss 2 swaps in a row. But the net effect
it's a long
there, not
day for Abrahams. Like they are grinding right now.
It's pretty late in EU now too. I mean, granted, Deadlock players and frankly casters in production all have terrible sleep schedules, but even still, late day in EU. Still, enough for Abrahams here to get mid Guardian and looking for a little bit more here. Fremont
with the move
to ends up living, ends up falling, I think, to bloodletting though at the very end. Still, Leviathan looking to bring the chase down the other way. Tass in real danger once again, and Osees gets the last little bit of damage to finish it off. While this is going on, the urn is being transported, and this should be a free dunk in favor of Leviathan.
Celeste tangling with the Graves at close range. This one starting to look good for Graves, but both are low. A nuke from Celeste would turn the tide. Big dunk, though, from Irizumi. And Graves is stuck around. Now Mina's here, ready to get the chase down. Good movement from Sonya Sniper. Maybe just a little bit too far to catch. Osees has to fall back. But the urn dunk, no counter, no real response in objectives or kills for Abrahams. So a few thousand souls into the bank for Leviathan as their lead expands. Now 10,000 souls here at just 11 minutes.
Another bird. I think it is wild just how low the cooldown is on bird, where you really notice a comp play where it's just, observer cam, bird. On repeat.
I mean, you're just always active. You're always looking for something. Yeah. Speaking of something, Shiv kind of getting triangulated right now. But man, Fremont's movement has been elite this series, right? Like he's pulled so much attention to himself and gotten away. Stolen Billy ult. Maybe the chain gang's gonna pull Billy back down into trouble. He's got that rising ram to maybe pull him away, but Mina has more than enough damage. Osees locking that one in, continuing to expand the streak, and it's just Demov to try to make this hold on the GT. This one's a little bit scary. He doesn't have that much HP. Nina's gonna look more for the dive deeper. Players are busy elsewhere on the map. Demov's not gonna really get much support on this play, and Mina seems to know it. Rabbit Hex not gonna be enough, and the stomp does hit Mina, so Osees gonna have to just fall back off of this one.
Nox Nostra interrupted by the stomp, but the walker goes down in the end. Demov, another bird is out. Who's gonna be the victim this time around? I think it's looking for the Mina. The team will take anything to get up over.
He's just jungling. He's jungling in front of the bird, man. No respect.
Also, Redison Speed, the donation being dropped in. Thank you very much. And we'll go back and look at some of the messages previously. Not in the position to read it here just yet, but don't worry. We'll get you before the break.
Yeah, shout out to the donations, man. Like, the community support in these tournaments is huge. We talk about it a lot, but it's because we wouldn't be here without it, right? Like, the fact that, you know, folks coming together, making this show possible and building up the prize pool. It's much appreciated for
Also,
Deadlock Esports.
Jake, there's kind of a problem brewing for Abrahams. Mina's starting to get ahead of the game. And we've seen what happens when OCs gets ahead of the game on Mina. It's generally not good for the opposition. I mean, Sanya's at 13k on the Graves, so it's not massively far behind, but I still think Sanya's playing with the penalty of probably just not being ultra comfortable on the Graves. I mean,
yeah,
maybe I'm wrong. It just doesn't seem like a Sanya hero.
This game feels really textbook for Leviathan, right? It feels like Abrahams are tired and they're struggling, and Leviathan are more than happy to capitalize and play a game that is extraordinarily comfortable for them. Like every hero pick, absolutely something they're comfortable with, that they've practiced. Abrahams maybe got put in a rough spot draft-wise, you know, in terms of having to go for this Graves. Maybe they can get deeper into the late game and show some of that fighting potential. But we talked about this, like, game one, it's so good to be ahead on Graves and to be, like, running people down, trying to play from behind and trying not to get bursted in the team fight, especially given the amount of raw spirit damage Leviathan can bring to bear, is very difficult. Taz and Tether looking to maybe get active on the side lane, but Sai might see them. I guess the Magician is spotted, but yeah, it looks like he does. He must have seen something.
Things slowing down a little bit here where, you know, by the way, the lead has kind of started to balloon for Leviathan. Not super surprising given the comp. Like, on the draft, we called out that this could be the case, but I think the scary thing for Abrahams is that while, yes, you have Taz and you have, you know, paradoxical swap, some of your options for getting back the game are not necessarily the greatest. As swap gonna get caught here by Sai, throws it out raw, does not connect.
A parry and a GT? What the hell? Already some good fighting damage, but both teams really taking some pretty heavy damage. Here comes Mina over the top, the Nox Nostra silencing two. Taz and Together, they need that rallying charge just to stay alive. Spirit shielding though, keeping OCs healthy. Taz super low. The 2 kills set up by Mina. Already one has been found. Hoot as well out of this fight, just bleeding out. Fremont and Irizumi, irrepressible in the front line, and this is one tanky Shiv already has that bullet resilience.
Also, Jake, the other thing
Mid?
too.
No way. It's mid, ZP.
A 15-minute mid-boss attempt.
They're up a lot. But this is crazy, ZP. This is Abrahams we're talking about. They've done much more impressive mid snatches than this. Surely they have to go for it, but Leviathan not backing down, still playing with full confidence. Yeah, this is a team fight. You are not getting free last hits here.
Also, they're about to get Bird, and they have Chain Gang.
God.
Oh, this could be a disaster for Leviathan. Abrahams in on the contest. Chain Gang is out. Bird gonna be sent in from above.
Rabbit-X.
Where's the Bird? Rabbit-X
Rabbit-X of the
all
gods.
3 rejuves to Leviathan. The Bird is too late, Jake. Demov couldn't land. Wait, Bird also got 3 kills. Like,
all rejuves out.
Yeah.
There's still something to be fought for, but Leviathan are healthier. Hoot is low. Taz is low. Demov is blowing everything. He's got to go back to base, man. He's got nothing more to give in this fight. It's massive that you're able to clean up these rejuves, but in the end, you blow a lot of ults. No one actually goes down for Leviathan. They just expend their own rejuves. And the macro pressure is pretty rough. Taz going for this. I mean, he's going to go all in and maybe suicide for this Walker with the help of the Graves Tomb. That's probably worth it, but it's not the best kind of sacrifice you're looking to make in these games.
so Demov had to reposition to line up the Bird, and it led to a situation where the Bird came in too late to interrupt for rejuve contest, but still got there in time to do enough damage that everyone lost their rejuves, basically. So,
and an aggro dunk, they're gonna get this. Oh, he does get the dunk in time. Bird's gonna come in and try and contest it. Celeste is a monster though, man. She is not backing down. Irizumi, the support from the Rem is huge. Celeste absolutely not losing HP, continuing to fight this one. Lycan Curse halfway done, needs to find some kills, but Hoot's dropping low. He has to fall back off this. And without one of your most important frontliners, Together is gonna drop. Leviathan, blood in the water for them. They're up 20k souls. They say that's all we need. They don't need the rejuice to get this one. OC's 22k on this Mina. Huge factor right now in the game, on fire. And it feels like every engagement, this game just slips further and further out of Abraham's hands.
all right, we got the replay here of exactly how this went down, where, again, the Bird's going to be a little bit late here.
Look at the
Chain
Rabbit-X.
Gang comes out. Even as
Everybody's buddies.
came on it.
There's 4 bunnies,
my
man.
God. That is a wild back and forth. Also, the Graves did enormous damage in there off the zombies. Like, that was back and forth. The Graves damage there actually, like, way higher than expected on second glance.
Tap into the art.
Absolutely.
Great talent.
In the end, though, Abraham's still on the outside looking in. And it feels like they're just kind of bleeding out right now. Another Walker going to go down just from the macro split pressure. A Nox Nostra, even be bitted, reminds me of Release Mina. Bit of a pressure, though, from Hood, who's kind of happy to take these HP trades. Procs the ultimate. Slowing Hex comes out from Taz on the Paradox there. Would love to be able to catch OCs, who's already down to half HP. Hood coming in with the Chain Gang as well. Can you be able to break it? You can't quite. Good catch on the Celeste, who now gets knocked down onto the floor. This could be just the catch Abrahams are looking for. That being said, Celeste still somehow healthy, dancing away onto the high ground. OCs is out. Irazumi's going to pop the sleep to slow down Hood, but good start to the fight, and I don't know that Leviathan want to continue to force this.
Headed to green.
I do love how Celeste gets pulled down, but Celeste is ahead of the game to a degree that's like, well, my HP bar is not going to move. Also, I think that's the real problem that Abrahams is running up against here is that, you know, so we talked about where Graves is the ultimate stat check hero, but your ability to outplay is more limited relative to other heroes. So the fact that Abrahams is so far behind right now is just a pain because Sanya is not going to have the impact on fights that he would if it was at least even with the Graves being ahead of their own team.
Definitely something you got to watch out for this game. The ability for Graves to stick on these incredibly mobile targets. It's like, yeah, the guys you could catch, but pretty much everyone else has some pretty powerful tools. Maybe an attempt in mid. Big stolen chain gang, though, from Sai is going to pull a lot of players in, groups them up, but the follow-up's not really there. Graves going to pop a couple tools defensively. Split push pressure on the left side favoring Leviathan. Right side, though, pushing in pretty hard for Abrahams. Resources definitely being deployed around this mid lane where the last Walker stands here for Abrahams, playing with their tournament life on the line.
Movement buff being saved, and I believe it was overseas I was able to get it.
Okay, that's crazy.
Pick
No
up
way
is
you go
there.
for that. Billy's going to attempt that one, but he's just going to get out of dodge real quick. Taz might end up giving his life, and Leviathan were more than ready to pounce onto this one. Even with only 5 players here, it's going to be enough. They're even going to give that extra movement buff to further speed up this dunk from Sai. It's a hard dunk, though. It is favorable on the enemy side of the map. Do you really want to go for this one right here and right now? Leviathan saying the answer might be yes, suggesting that with their map rotations right here.
I've never seen Tass have a rougher game in recent memory, by the way.
Yeah.
The amount of times Tass has been picked off into the amount of missed swaps, you know, it's unreal. When Hoot is to here, remember,
Movement buff. It's enough.
I mean, you know, if you're Silver, you're just looking for a boot kick here, but the cavalry has arrived. Wait, what did the owl even hit?
I think he missed
I
up.
don't
He
think
hit
the
the
bird hit
corner.
anything.
Sai thinking twice about going for this. Oh, the page ult is going to snatch the urn out of his hand. Soren is timed out here, but Hoot, one of the crucial players on this Abraham squad, forced into the Lycan curse, and it's not even going to be enough. Here comes the real chain gang coming out from Billy. It's stolen as well. Sai looks to pull players deep into enemy territory. Now the big Rabbit Hex counterspelled by Page, but not enough to keep Billy out of the fray. But Leviathan are just so powerful over the top here, bringing that damage. And Sai goes back, recognizes his team's in control. He's going to grab this urn and throw the dunk in.
And for Abrahams, I mean, they've run out of gas. Like, Saint has no HP, Tass has no HP. It should be an easy dunk, and is. So no comeback urn possibility here for Abrahams. Even further behind, Tass gonna fall again. Get out of the fight. There's absolutely no chance we're gonna test the urn. And, you know, at this point, there is no more urn, so leave. There's nothing to be gained here for Abrahams at this point.
Yeah, they keep trying to find these kills, and I don't blame them because everyone on Leviathan is low, and Abrahams are a team. They know their win condition is finding a cheeky kill in one of those kind of extended exchanges that maybe allows them to flip an unlikely team fight. But now, full map control, earned down. There's not really any key objectives to play for. Big Rabbit Hex on a Hoot, amplifying some of that damage, but this close to Walker, just for harassment more than anything. There's a lot of jungle on the map right now, ZP.
Abraham's playing a game right now where they're gonna have to thread the needle, avoid major team fights for a while, ideally get Sanya to a higher level of farm, and more than anything else, even though it's been a tough game for Tass, you're still kind of reliant on task to give you an opening here for a pickoff that you could change into multiple staggered picks. Because I don't think Abrahams wins any straight up team fight the way it is right now between the two teams. So you need to generate an opportunity somewhere on the map, but it is easier said than done. Another bird.
These birds feel more desperate than anything. Yeah, he's just going to clear waves with it. That's all he can really do. Like, Abraham's corralled it just into the mid lane. They're not farming that much. Leviathan just pulling the macro lead. Taz, though, maybe he wants to change that story. But Overseas is more than willing to fight. He's actually just running it down on them. And everyone, once again, trying to retreat, trying to pull back. Celeste chasing them with the Shining Wonder. It's bouncing between all these players. Billy trying to pull Celeste maybe deeper than she had signed up for. But without the bird, it's a bit of a scary fight. Leviathan taking any advantage and just running with it. And an E-shift on the Mina, but she's so deep in the back line. Some nice dashes to maybe get out of this. Insane movement from OCs. He's gone.
Also, it was a very early E-shift buy. We saw it doesn't feel as much now, but he had that E-shift at 22,000. It was a full-on, I just don't want to die. There was also one of the missed paradoxical swaps earlier where Tass basically had to try and thread the needle and was a little bit off. Still, the longer this goes without a pick, the more it is in favor of Abrahams at the very least. Just proportional difference in farm gets less and less as time goes on.
Yeah, they're getting a bit of comeback souls. But it definitely feels clear that there's a real danger for Abrahams. Every one of these fights, it really feels like it could go explosively against them. Some big shots, though, connecting on Overseas is going to maybe slow his roll just a bit. Fremont also in trouble. A big soul exchange, though, onto the Billy. Gets Overseas back and healthy. The key team fighter on together in massive trouble, getting run down. Cost Fremont his life, though. 1-for-1 could be decent. Hoot also, Lycan transform now into the back line. The rest of Leviathan trying to turn and burn onto this incredible frontliner, but he's full stacks, massive damage coming in. I just don't know that it's going to be enough. Celeste, now that the ultimate's out, she's going to be happy to turn and run this one down, but with all these Graves abilities bogging up the mid lane, it's not going to be easy to go for a chase.
Guys, one of the few heroes to not instantly melt when a silver is on her just because of how powerful Life Drain is at the moment. If you're wondering, the fight goes like, how'd Overseas live? It's like, well, Geist Life Drain actually pretty good at the moment. However, Abrahams have created an opportunity here, Jake. They're going to get advantage earn. And now, can they get away with it? Sinclair on the chase down, able to force the drop. Looking here for Paradox. Paradox, though, dancing in and around the wall. Still okay here so far. Tess, though, getting a little bit of support. Earn, once more picked up by Tess, and again dislodged into the Spectral Assistant escape. Leviathan pulling out every trick in the book to keep this Earn in contest as more rotate over and in.
Yeah, there's more players coming to chase this one down. See if they can catch some of these players sticking around. Good counterspell from Saint. Pulls a bit of attention onto himself, but contesting the Urn feels difficult together. Kind of all on his own right now on the Billy. Life stealing a little bit back up, but he's starting to tick out. OCs runs him out. And Abrahams routed back to the base, full running this one. D-Mob also on a hasty retreat in mid. Waves are very strong, though, for Abrahams and the rest of the map, so this not necessarily going to be a free dunk. Mina has used the E-shift, started to take some big hits. That Bola really hurting her. Needs some support from Irizumi to play out of this one. Running out of stamina as well. The rest of the team is here, trying to back her up, trying to bail her out. They know how important OCs is to this team damage.
Bird out and on the way. You gotta think it's going for the Urn. The dislodge it once more, and that's exactly where it goes. Hits 3 for the trouble. Actually, big damage here from D-Mob. The fight continuing to take place in the middle. Swap, gonna miss off the clone. Rallying charge, thrown into the fray. Saint, though, dies immediately thereafter. A bloody fight that Leviathan, not entirely spotless. Rayek caught, but they may get Hoot in turn. Hoot taking refuge down into the sewers. I think was able to get away, still actually being chased here, and goes down. Not the easiest chase down, but one Leviathan manages all the same.
Yeah, they have to work hard for these fights. Abraham's playing incredibly well. You wouldn't guess the soul deficit that we see on the top of the screen, but in the end, Leviathan do get a 2-for-1 there. Should be a winning trade, especially as they continue to hold this prio. Shiv lives on slivers of HP, has that double resilience build. So potent on Shiv right now, and they're gonna flip mid right now. They say, hey, without Hoot, you are nothing. No rallying charge as well from the page. It's really all on together and D-Mob to get this done. Maybe Sonya, we see what Graves can do in the pit, could be a difference maker. But the Rabbit Hex from Sai, always a huge threat to deal with. And an aggressive sleep coming out from Irizumi. The Rabbit Hex is early. You're not even going to be there to contest. Triple rejuve instantly grabbed from Leviathan. Berg gets nothing. Abrahams back to base and quick because Leviathan on the chase down.
Earn for mid-boss is cold comfort for Abrahams here. It's not the trade you want to take. Graves Tombstone dropped here for a little bit of chaos. So we see Sanya looking for the way out. You don't want to lose the Graves here. You do! The rake from OCs prevents any hope from escape on the end. Leviathan taking every step necessary to defend their title. Swap in from Paradox towards the very end. Leviathan, 1 Rejuvenator left. Not the biggest bounty of rejuves at this point, and Hoot actually thinking there's a little bit of blood and water here up in middle.
Yeah, do you really want to transform right now? It's kind of in a passive spot, but Hoot just a little. Oh, he's actually gonna get forced to transform here. He has to send it, has to get aggressive, has to force some kind of a trade, but can he actually take this one? It's wolf on wolf action. Sai with his own wolf form, pulling a lot of aggro on himself, insanely tanky despite being a Sinclair who hasn't really built for this role. Shiv is in right behind him, and Sai ended up making a lot of space into this one, enough to claim that mid walker.
Lead still at 30k. Leviathan working with 1 Rejuvenator. Not quite as big of a Rejuvenator advantage as you like, but still enough that you can hang out here, go for a little bit of sieging. More of a scouting bird. Dropped here from Demov, but should be able to land with a little bit of damage onto the Shiv, who doesn't really care and is still going to continue to do a bit of gambling.
There's a lot of jungle on the map right now. And for Abraham's, right, to staying back is almost not an option because the eco lead is just going to continue to pull against you. Everyone full split right now on Leviathan. Abrams, it feels like you got to make a play. If you let people just full split 6 on the map, farming all 3 waves and a ton of jungle, you are going to go really parabolic in the worst possible direction on that soul graph.
It has been a relatively passive game for Sanya so far here. I mean, granted, part was that you're out getting farmed, but 0-1 and 4. Not a Graves that's been in a ton of fights. Shangang, though, going to be used by together. Sanya moving in, not really full committing as Nox Nostra comes in from the top. A fight that Abrahams decides wisely to go for a disengage on. Hoot getting chased, but they decide, no, not going to full commit onto the silver here just yet, as buffs and a new urn spawn. And Jake, you think about how long the last urn took to get resolved, we may be looking at more of the same.
Yeah, definitely to pick up a crucial moment, though, especially for Abrahams. They would love to be able to grab it for themselves. Being contested, a bit of a front line here. A sleep onto 2 might be enough for Irizumi as he comes with the tag along now. Assisting Fremont, who's pumping that damage. Disarming Hex not going to make a difference to the Shiv, who's just raining in skill after skill. A beautiful parry as well onto together. Billy starting to drop low. The heals so far good enough, but Shiv now locked down in a really rough spot, surrounded by these Graves zombies. And somehow, despite that advantage coming in, Leviathan maybe in real trouble here. OC's just got healed up to stay alive and continue this game.
Graves power right now. Off, oh my goodness, the captivating read into the grasping hands. It is the you do not get to move combination. Swap over. Damage still being pumped out here by the Graves. Needs a little bit more onto the guy's gonna get it. And the lockdown from Abrahams in this fight, actually a bit unreal, Jake. Leviathan down 3, Abrahams down 2, but that was a great fight from Abrahams, and I still can't get over what happened to Freeblock. That was a 2 rallying charges into grasping hands. It's a captivating read, but hold on. The chase down, the Graves threat is dead.
Oh, the Scourge, so much value into this fight. Irizumi, super farmed right here on the Ram, able to contribute a ton into this one. Sai also considering going deeper, but Taz maybe just a little bit too hard of a target for that one.
Is that a sign of things to come here, though, Jake?
Yeah, it's a little scary.
And also getting the urn from Abrahams. I mean, it's getting them closer in farm. Graves is now at the point where she is a much bigger threat, especially now that you're getting things around the lines of, double grasping hands. You get double rallying charge. The CC that Abrahams is able to put out with some of the endgame items is sort of changing the course of these late game fights.
Yeah, it feels like you might need some unstoppables, right? Just because like that many layered CCs, it's kind of a problem. I mean, Divine Barrier up for Irizumi is disgustingly rich, by the way. 35k on the Rem. He is big.
Also, I think that may have been a Sinclair rallying charge. Look here, I don't think Saint actually has Refresher. I might be wrong. It looked like
they need to do the put whatchamacallit, have like a different
Purple
audio
horses?
cue, but I guess you can see the
Yeah, no, there's no refresher on page. So that was actually just Sinclair horses. It looked like they came from the same direction, but...
Yeah, I know. Some of the ults are purple, right? But the horses might not be. I think they...
the horses are... I think cloned horses are just green.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a troll. Paige
Also
just
cloned Kelvin Dome.
throwing out some threats here, trying to keep people sustained. Curse is very real here. But Irizumi, I think, definitely going to have the advantage in terms of his ability to sustain some of these players in the team fight. He's got a lot of powerful defensive tools. And once again, it's like, Abrahams, you're in a part of the map. There's not really any camps here. You need to somehow come out and get some kind of a meaningful team fight. By the way, those super creeps from Rem just tanked the bird. They're actually going to continue to push down the right side lane.
Boss has arrived.
The force onto mid boss. This
is crazy. This is definitively crazy, ZP. Until the Graves build that they're up against, I don't know about this one.
It's bait.
Looks like it's a roar bait. Together's instantly going to sniff it out, but the sleep is good enough onto the swap. AoE swap pulls 2 down. Out of position now. Graves trying to bog things down, slow the fight. Taz really underfarmed this game. It gets pulled in deep. The Billy pulling them into the absolute swamp here. Sai can TP out of this one, but maybe the damage is done. Abrams low HP on a couple players. Leviathan still trying to push forward. The Rabbit Hex is coming in thick and fast. Leviathan finding the first kill in onto Hoot, no less.
Losing Hoot is rough. Dimov also eating some knives. 2 knives from afar. That actually may be lethal if Dimov can't get some heals. It's going to be pretty close. Like, he's ticking. He's ticking. Is he dead? Is Dimov dead? Oh my word. Dimov just barely got into the fountain. And now mid-boss at risk. Rallying charge.
I think that was just thrown out from Sai to heal people up because he was going to lose the ulti.
Yeah.
Tomb popped early. Oh my god, the X of Doom on the floor here. 1 rejuve grab for Leviathan. The parry's coming in. 2nd grab as well in the 3rd. Leviathan still keeping players alive. Overseas not even consuming the 1st rejuve. And this looks like the nightmare scenario. Abrams could be going out here and now. Leviathan, triple rejuve, everybody alive. Just Dimov together. But they're just trying to back off. They're just trying to stay alive. Dimov, that might even be too much to ask for as Mina hunts down the GT who, wait, I think he's hiding in like a cubby? Where is Dimov right now?
We need Dimov cam. Where? Oh god, he's actually in the veil.
This is 400 HP. He can't get back. Like, I don't know how he gets back to base. Genuinely.
Well, yeah, we can still send an owl and hope no one like traces where the owl came from.
No, it's fine, guys. It's the GT turret that's sending the owls.
Okay, wait. Dimov is found the path.
Oh,
he's gonna get to
They see him. They see him. I assume from the way Mina's batting. Goes up in the air, silences onto together, and the damage comes. He got zip knocked on the way back into the base. No, Dimov. Leviathan still triple rejuves to play with. Hoot, super low HP, trying to pull a lot of attention onto himself. Together does chain people in deep, but I think they're more than happy to come in, more than happy to battle up against this Billy. Leviathan continuing to snowball, adding to this ridiculous kill lead. With the shrines dropping, with players still long off the respawn, this one feels too difficult even for Abrahams. Leviathan cruising toward their next victory, maintaining the streak here at the top of EU Night Shift.
Abrahams, the once champions, again struggling to find their footing. Leviathan holding serve. First stage patron about to be dropped, and they're real close to finishing things off, collecting their share of the prize pool, and adding to the bonus pot, as it were. Well, actually, Abraham, we didn't talk about it. Abraham's actually, because they got a map, they get
oh my god, Together DC. Bro, Together DC, you gotta end, guys. Oh my god, the sleep comes in. The re-engage is good. Curse onto Rayik, but it's just a rejuve claimed. Silence is gonna be good enough. Saint is down, throws out the rallying charge, but it's too little, too late. It's all Leviathan in the feed. Even Hoot cannot stand. The stat check is too real. Sanya on the grave, struggling to just throw down everything he can, but they're just out of gas, CP.
And that is going to be a wrap. Leviathan defend the throne once more. It was an incredibly long series. It was back and forth, but Graves meeting her match back-to-back games as Leviathan take another. OC's at 51,000 at the very end. Doesn't quite matter what OC's is on here today, Jake. Made his impact in more ways than one.
Huge game for OCs on the Mina. Honestly, ridiculous series from OCs, like front to back. The 2 Graves games, immaculate, you know, huge carry performances, and then just a tale's old as time. When you give this guy the Mina, you know he's gonna have a big game. Abrahams, I think this game 3, running out of gas really is the right metaphor, right? Like that's kind of them. Felt like how long and difficult their day was. I don't really blame them for it. Leviathan just absolutely suffocating pressure in this game 3, just developed that lead little by little, but it never felt like they lost control of the game. Maybe one good team fight for Abrahams in the late game, but in the end, Leviathan prevent the bleeding from turning into anything worse and seal the deal here over the Patriot.
Man, what a series back and forth, and just how much changes in a week. I don't think anyone saw the idea that Graves was going to come in and be such a force in regards to the impact on the draft. Now, do I think it worked out super well for Abrahams in this game? Probably not. Although I don't know how much of that, like, you could argue, was Sanya the most comfortable on the hero? Maybe, maybe not. I also just think, though, Leviathan, as we called it the draft, they picked something that was really high tempo. They got ahead early, and when you maintain a reasonable lead, it's a lot harder for Graves to have as big of an impact, although this mid fight with the zombies is just absolutely unreal.
ZP, Graves live nerfed. Patch just dropped.
Wait, you're kidding me.
This is the new patch. No cap. Straight line.
What? Wait. Nerfed in time for NA. I'm pulling it up right now.
Let's see. All right, well, after we finish these replays, we'll check out some of the notes before we close out this half of the show. I'm sure we'll have more to say as well as we get into North America, but it is just, we're getting everything all at once here on the night shift. We got a patch, we got insane games, we got like a 60-minute game, probably our longest series ever. I'm not sure about that, but I feel like it has to be damn close.
Yeah, I mean, whew. Also the mid patch, or the mid show patch, kind of unreal. But hey, at least it's time between the EU and NA break. Also, this part here, they're lucky Hoot went down early, because anytime you fight in this corridor and mid boss, that has to be the best place for Silver to fight in the entire game.
Yeah, like the power of this comp, definitely fighting in the small rooms was super real, but I just think Mina and Shiv, like overall Leviathan had such a movement gap in this game, right? They have insane mobility heroes, and it felt like the close range characters from Abrahams just couldn't quite catch the targets, right? There's too many ways to escape. There's too many ways to fall back. You end up like the only guy you really can catch and lock down is a Lady Geist with a freaking Rem behind her, sustaining her. So very, very potent draft from Leviathan. A great adaptation to lock this in game 3, and a huge team effort across the board for Leviathan. It's not just one player standing out above the rest. Like, this takes the entire team to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I think of moments here. I mean, aside from, OCs where I've talked about a lot, Freemock on the Shiv is something beautiful to behold. I mean, over the course of the series, the amount of times that Freemock just did ridiculous movement things where even by Shiv standards of just how in the world did he get out. Also, Rayek on the Celeste was just continually, a real pain to deal with over the course of the game.
Yeah, definitely great games. I also want to call out Sai on the Sinclair, 4-2-22. Really crazy stat line, sort of showed the difficulty sometimes for Graves in that matchup. A lot of very impactful ult steals as well. I mean, the Rabbit Hex secures a couple crucial rejuves to even put them in this position to win the game. Irizumi on the Rem, insane performance today, like really, really clean support, always where he needed to be, always making these clutch saves, great item buys as well. So for Leviathan, really building something up with real stability here as they hold on to yet another title defense here in the night shift.
I mean, it's super interesting too, because now 4 wins in a row. It's not, we were looking at this as, EU is now going to be a holy trinity again. You're going to have a lot of back and forth. Maybe we're just looking at the beginning of a brand new mega streak, and it's not Abrahams as the one that's doing it, because Leviathan, they're really answering a lot of questions that people had of, hey, can this team be versatile? Do they have deep hero pools? Do they have multiple options? What happens if OCs doesn't get the Mina? They had answers for all of that here today, Jake. They're not a team that is a one-trick pony. They've actually added a lot of depth over time, and Abrahams, while they came close today, they didn't have the answer yet.
Yeah, I mean, this definitely was an improved Abrahams based on what we've seen from them recently. I think, honestly, if they didn't have such a brutally long day, I think this could have been a much more competitive game 3. And so I'm excited to see them back in competition. But, man, even that match against Loki W, right, went down to the absolute limit. Abrahams are still going to claim half the bounty, so a little something, dinner on us, Abrahams, dinner on us for all you guys, a little something, a little taste of something. But Leviathan, in the end, they hold the defense, continuing to build up that bounty. And I mean, they might take home the bounty, right? Because this is what, so this is 4 straight weeks they've won. If they can do one more, they're going to claim that bounty for themselves. They have every incentive to not give up any maps to maximize that payout.
All right, so we got some what's it called, donations to read out before we go to break. We said we'd catch up on it. From Asian EZ, we have tipped $100 saying, quote, me when a bad bitch, parentheses, ZP, tells me to donate to the prize pool. From Asian EZ. From Cushion Boots 420, $5. Thanks to everyone who puts this on. And I love my blue boy Abams. Not Abrams, Abams. From Anonymous, $10. Shout out ZP. I think I got him killed in Matchmaker this week. Spam him chat, asking if he was a caster for DLNS. I said I'd donate $10 American dollars as punishment. Oh God, I remember that. It's true. Also, to be fair, while it did get me killed, we were losing that game horrifically. It had no impact on the game. I just try to avoid typing mid-game, but all the love in the world and a man of his word. Mr. Wizard TV, $5. Been on night shift. When they going to add techies to the game? Damn.
Never, please, God, no, please stop.
Goopy Noopy, $25. Massive week of games in both regions. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes at DLNS for putting on a great show once again. Cheers and GL have fun. Sunsball, 10. $25. Congrats to Floormen. Wait, that was last week. Never mind. I've gone too far back. Those were all the donations this week. I was like, what do you mean congrats to Floormen? They haven't played yet. Jake, final thoughts before we throw the break and we get NA going. And also an interview from Elizabeth. Oh, wait, we got an MVP first.
Yeah, of course, we got to take a look at our MVP. We got to celebrate for Leviathan. I mean, another big week for them. It shouldn't be any surprise here from OCs. I mean, top of the line carry performances, you know, through the entire series. Game 3, I think, really put a cherry on top. This guy was so deep in the back line, like the entire game. He's pulling so much aggro to himself, slips away on just shreds of HP time and time again. Game 1. Debut of the top like farm carry Graves here in Night Shift, and he single-handedly warped the meta, you know, like mind controlling Abrahams to pick the Graves, and the hero looks very good. I'm curious to see if the patch changes that or if NA just has a different take on the meta, but definitely a well-deserved MVP performance out of OCs.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting too because again, we kind of went in with the storyline of a lot of people going, oh, OCs has to play the heroes with the free escapes, and granted, you know, being able to throw down a wall, you do have some escape ability on Graves, but it's not a hero known for her high mobility. She has to buy superior stand pretty early and, you know, get out on her movement without really iframes, and not a problem for OCs. No Mina, no problem. Massive performance on the Graves, and still the same Mina you know and love for OCs with a really good performance in map 3.
Yeah, what a nasty little rake there to finish off Sonya before popping the rejuve, and well-deserved win for Leviathan. ZP, they went, what was it? It's like 10 straight losses against Abrahams, grinding, winning, I think 2 maps over the course of that. Like, few teams could have stuck it out and stayed together and kept building through that kind of a beatdown. But finally now it's their day in the sun, winning another one straight here on the Night Shift. And like you said, maybe the beginning of a real dynasty for them. They're earning these wins. This is not coming from, you know, 1 or 2 players having big games across the board. You know, everyone hitting new levels here for Leviathan. So a lot of love to this team sticking around, a long time appearance in the Night Shift and finally getting their flowers.
Oh, there's, because I scrolled down too much, we also had a donation from Redison Speed, $10 that just said slay. Jake, though, we're not off the hook just yet. We got to talk about the patch notes, and then we throw to the interview. And then we get in the NA. So,
let's take a look. All right. Little buffs to Bebop. I'm down for that. A little regen on Bebop should help the early game.
Bit of a buff to Calico. I mean, does Calico need it?
She got some like nerfs here and there. I think NA was still liking her, so maybe she'll be played a little bit more in NA.
Doorman buffs. I don't like this at all. Like even bigger radius on Call Bell. And a little bit more slow, more distance on Doorway.
Huge. Doorway distance, the base, okay, wait. Doorway is going to be crazy. I know they nerfed all the ability range stuff, so maybe this just, but he's going to be able to kidnap you across the map now, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's actually massive nerf to Graves. Given that people have been going Echo Shard grasping hands constantly, you're getting 2 less ghouls per rotation.
This is the build that Sonya did. This is not the build that OCs did, though. OCs was playing the conventional carry Graves, where he's like playing for the passive. So I think this matters, but I think it sort of depends on your take. The way Sonya's build absolutely is harder. Like I think the Echo Shard stuff is gone probably. Then again, 10-second less cooldown, maybe buying that CTR, you're gonna kind of get a lot of spam out of it.
Also, it's still a really long route. Like the ghouls made it over the top, but wait, what is the holiday change? The holiday, it's got to be buffed. Right?
You get air control as an ally. That's sick. So you get like the holiday crazy air control. That is legitimately a massive buff. I mean, the tier 3 crack shot. Yeah, I don't think this matters, but I think the bounce pad, dude, imagine like bounce padding your entire team like into the team fight. You bring like 6 guys all like jump and land on you all at once. This legitimately is massive. I actually think that could single-handedly make Holiday pretty sick, especially because that's probably the best in competitive play, where like everyone can plan to take the bounce pad together. Like that is legitimately a crazy tool. That air control is unbelievably powerful.
Wait, also tier 3 crack shot just got buffed by 50%.
I still skeptical about this carry holiday build after the gun nerfs, but I know of all people, ZP, you will will this into existence.
Okay, here's the thing about gun holiday. By the math, it actually should still be a thing. The problem is that holiday's projectile bullet is so small. It's like one of the smallest bullets in the game.
Like a true hit scan.
And her gun has like weird feedback on it. So the accuracy on holiday isn't where it should be. But like by the math, that actually should make gun holiday super viable if you have the skill. Do people have the skill on short notice? Maybe not, but let's keep going now. We got Infernus. Reasonable buffs here to Infernus.
Little buffs on Afterburn. I feel like Infernus is just gonna be like better and better. I mean, like I feel like at some point he's gonna get over the top. He had been a very strong meta hero for a long time and has been out on the outside looking in for quite a bit now. I feel like this could be enough for Infernus. Like these are pretty meaningful buffs because it's like it adds up. The DPS lasts a very long time with all the duration stuff you buy.
Will DMB play Infernus? We'll have to see. Kelvin, a little bit of nerf. That's not gonna stop Psy from playing Kelvin. Like that's a slap on the wrist.
Yeah,
overall.
Slightly reduces your heals, but the ulti is still insane, which is I think what people are really playing it for.
Okay, the Geist nerf, these are actually really big Geist nerfs. The fall off nerf is that sucks. Like that, that actually hurts a lot. And the spirit scaling on life drain, this actually I think
still
hurts
worse.
Geist.
It's still worse even with the buff on tier 3, right? It's basically the same. It's slightly worse with the after tier 3 than it is now. But before tier 3, it's pretty bad. I will say if you're gonna rush tier 3 life drain, maybe this doesn't matter that much because it's basically the same once you have the tier 3.
Yeah, true. Tier 3 goes back.
I think the gun fall off might those type of changes tend to be more meaningful than you would think.
Yes. All right, McGinnis, better heals, better wall. Oh, Mirage, he had to get hit.
He had to get a beat down. Health steal per second, double nerfed. Tier 3 spirit scaling, further nerfed. Okay, so they just blew fire scrapers out of the water. I will say this rework was just too good. I mean, he got perma first banned in EU, so he might actually get played in NA now. Maybe they'll let him through the ban phase. Slightly longer Dust Devil CD, but it's fixed by the tier 2. But then again, I don't think people were really leveling Dust Devil too much. Maybe you would. Maybe you do the Dust Devil build now with the increased lift duration. I don't know. It's like the Echo Shard, quadruple Dust Devil. Maybe that's a little. And also,
I mean, Leffa was already playing that before, so Leffa might be like, yeah, absolutely. Oh no! Oh, wow.
All right, I will say no one's leveling this skill. Like people are just taking it with no points in it. So tier 3, I don't know that you're actually like. I don't think you're really interrupting Rem when he's channeling this. Like it's pretty rare.
Untrue. Untrue. As someone that does a decent amount of event, you can gut shot him into the wall like more than you would expect.
I don't know. I think this is a fine buff though. Like maybe he didn't need it considering he got played a lot in EU, but still I think for the last few weeks Rem's been pretty bad. And
I just like interrupting. I enjoy. Wait.
I think this is a slight buffed. It's like so small the change. In fairness, why did her bullet damage scaling have 4 decimal points? That seems a little excessive.
I don't know. That is fair. Just off that alone. Also for the Ven, this is a buff so Vens don't do stupid things. As someone's played a lot of Ven recently. Okay, so technically before this nerf, before level 2 gut shot, you could gut shot someone and get a melee if the timing was absolutely perfect. But if the timing was a little bit off, they could parry, and you would get parried and you would die.
Now you're definitely
by reducing it point. Yes, now you definitely get parried. But now this prevents you from trying to go for like the absolute perfect melee, which you're not going to get most of the times. You're probably going to get parried regardless. So it removes the temptation. I feel like nerf, but actually stealth buff for people in average pub games.
All right, Victor. Victor's been out of the meta for so long. I kind of okay, and they took off the lifesteal effectiveness stat. That was the shortest lived lifesteal effectiveness stat of all time. No longer purchase non-ult debuffs. T3 now adds 50% debuff resistance. Does that mean when you press it, you get 50% debuff resistance and cuts existing debuff? I feel like that's, well, I guess it's better against ultis, right?
No,
so it's probably really good against like affliction because you can press the debuff resist and you like take off the affliction, or at least half of it.
Yeah.
So that could be a buff, but not purging is a big deal. Like a lot of things that you want to hard purge, like it's, I think about like an Infernus just shooting you is like no long. I mean, even if you're getting debuff resistance, he's still going to keep lighting you on fire if he's just sitting there shooting you.
All right, is that our final change? Because we got to get to NA. It's been a long day. It's perhaps about to get even longer. But that is the final patch note change. This has been Night Shift in EU, but don't you worry. We still got half a show left to go. But before we get into NA, how about settle into this preview of Elizabeth's interview with the one and only Saya?